We are live. Thanks for joining us,
we?
everybody.
Hello.
Here we go. Is it working?
Good
No,
day.
it still says 23.
23 what?
10 seconds.
Oh, right. Okay. But I don't think they're going to hear us go live until after that anyway. This is just the early stuff. So welcome to High on Homegrown from Percy's Grow Room, the Home Growers podcast. This is our pilot episode. It's brand new. We've got a nice structure lined up for you this evening. You can see it on the YouTube screen if you look on the right-hand side. But joining me tonight, I'm Mackie, and tonight is the panel. We've got Monkey. Say hi, Monkey.
Hi, hey panel. I'm Monkey. I'm a cocoa grower. I've been at Percys now for less than a year, but getting closer to that though. About 3 years experience growing weed, but about 40 years worth of growing everything else. So that's me.
Yeah. What are you saying, GB?
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Yeah, introduce yourself, man. What? Goddamn.
Oh,
Right, saying
Sorry.
something.
I
Hey.
thought it was only me that didn't understand this stuff. Okay.
Sorry, I'm GB, guys. I'm from Ireland. I'm in Percys. I'd say close enough, the same as Monkey, coming up on a year. I'm only new to growing. Again, I grew up years ago, but we're coming back to it again, and I wouldn't have been able to get to where I was if it wasn't with the help of everyone from Percy. So everyone is any new people that's listening, but we're all quite helpful, and yeah, looking forward to the show.
Sweet. Zian, what are you saying, man? Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. The Zombie Nation from UK, soil grower. Been at Percy since the beginning, almost. Pretty much the best site on the internet. Yeah.
Apart
Hello.
from Pornhub, I suppose. But we're pretty close.
Yeah.
We're up there ranking with them. Ranking.
Ranking.
Anyway, TG, what are you saying, man? Our organic soil grower. What are you saying?
Yeah, no, I am Temple Grower. I am a organic soil grower, as Mackie mentioned, from Canada. I'm a medical marijuana patient here, growing my own since I guess we were technically allowed back in 2017 when or 16, sorry, when the laws changed. But I've been growing for about a decade now. Yeah, I mean, lots to say about soil. I'll argue with anybody about it, so should be some good times.
I think we lost Mackie.
That's it then. We're all in trouble. We just have to piss about for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I guess.
We've got no structure now.
Just chaos.
We can be like everybody else now.
Well, he was wondering if this
I
was
muted
gonna
my
work.
mic. I think my internet went down for a second.
Oh,
still
there you
here.
go.
I think everything's still streaming. God, the goddamn stress. So we're going to move on to news and events. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Ready for the theme tune. News at a few minutes past 10 with Percy's Grow Room. Right. So what are we saying? Who are we going to go first? Zombie Nation, you've got some news for us, right?
Well, all I'm going to say is I've seen so much recently about all these so-called cures to do with cannabinoids. Everybody's advertising it, including High Times. So what do we think?
Right. About the ganja being a cure for COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, not a cure, but some kind of ailment fixer. I don't know.
I'm no medical professional, so I don't feel very comfortable speculating. But I mean, there's a lot we don't know about it, so I mean, who knows?
I don't know. You got to be skeptical of any of these claims. Yeah, you know, I just think
Absolutely.
it's a bandwagon everybody can jump on and just I don't know, add their little spin to it. So any cannabis writer wants to try and get their work noticed by adding the word COVID to it, and this is the best way to do it. You know.
Yeah.
That's why I see it.
You know, it's kind of one of those things, though. You can always argue that it does reduce stress. So in that way, it might boost your immune system. But whether or not it's going to be a direct cure, I mean, who's to say?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've smoked for close to 38 years constantly. I'm pretty healthy. I don't get much wrong with me. I don't suffer from colds. I don't get flu. I don't get anything. I just have like maybe a week every year when the weather changes where I feel a bit shit. But that's about it. I don't. My immune system, I reckon, is like up there somewhere, right at the top. I don't catch anything, and I've got to put that down to smoking weed because the rest of my family catch illnesses all the sodding time, and none of them smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still COVID
Twisted
free,
said in the
as far
chat,
as I
he's still
know.
COVID free. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent,
I don't
Twisted.
know.
Of course.
I could disagree with that because my immune system is absolutely shit.
Oh dear.
I smoke all day long, every day, but damn, I have a shitty immune system. I catch every cold, I'll catch every flu, you name it, I'll catch it. So
So
that's
they're
what I
claiming
do.
COVID is some kind of cure. No, they're claiming cannabis is some kind of cure for COVID. So
Well,
not a cure, but the
not so
CBD
much.
cannabinoid fills the same
Yeah,
ACE2
a
receptors.
cannabinoid in it.
Yeah. But, you know,
Right,
that's it. Weed is just a medicine altogether, really. And as long as they can reduce the stress, then that's going to help you get over a lot of things. Well, you're saying, GB, you got some news too, right?
I do. We have a bit of news for Ireland. It could be good for us. It's our new Minister for Health, Stephen Donnelly. He reaffirmed today about a statement that he made a couple of about 3 years ago on Hot Press, that he would like to find a way to decriminalize small quantities of weed for people. So like his basic thing is like, if an adult wants to grow herb and then smoke it, there are no negative consequences for other people. Well, they should be allowed to do that.
That's kind of how Spain is right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're pretty lax on there. I don't think it's technically legal there, but you can grow personal plants on your deck and use it as long as it's personal use kind of thing, right? I think.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Go on.
He's talking about it should be done in the context of medical research, and to see that like smoking weed as a minor, can it lead to mental health challenges or does it not? And they're trying to be mindful of, they don't want to do the drug tourism. They don't want the Amsterdam effect. I don't know why. I think it would do very well for the government coffers.
I think so.
Yeah, wow.
Just follow Canada's
Why
example,
now?
and that'll be perfect for them.
Yeah, well, that's the call. What a lot of people are calling for is to try follow the Canadian and even some of the states.
Oh no, I was being very sarcastic, but yeah, can't see my eyes.
No,
I could
that's
say.
So have you got some news as well, TG?
Oh yeah, for sure. Mine's more, I guess, like kind of like GB, specific to the Canada sphere here, and more specifically to the medical people. But there was an announcement regarding all this COVID stuff and your medical license. If you are a medical marijuana patient and your license expires between March 13th, 2020 and September 30th, 2020, you're allowed to continue to use your license with impunity for another 6 months after that, because of COVID and because it's been so hard to access your healthcare practitioner type people.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
For example, yeah, I'm just reading the website here, and they say if your registration expired between March 13th and June 25th, the 6-month extension would start on the 26th of June. So effectively, you'd be still legal until December 26th, 6 months later. And then if your registration expires anytime after June 26th and between June 26th and September 30th, that 6-month extension would start the day after your registration expires. So that's a good thing. They announced it just recently. So
is that just specifically because of COVID, or will that be something that carries on after?
No, I think well, who knows how long the COVID stuff's going to go on.
Very true.
But yeah, for right now, there's a 6 months extension on anybody's registration that expired between those dates that I mentioned. So that's a nice. Well, it's nice for people who are in limbo and stuff, and it's really tough to get into doctors, obviously, right now and stuff. So, yeah. So yeah, just for everybody's information, if anybody is from Canada and medical and listening and wasn't aware of that.
So you got some news as well, Monkey?
Oh yeah, mine, like Temple's, is a little bit more U.S. based, but you see, the rest of the world may not understand how screwed up the U.S. is. We have the federal government saying everything is completely illegal, and we have different states deciding it's legal, it's not legal, it's medical legal, it's recreational. And so we basically have a Wild West of cannabis going on. One thing that's really been a sticking point is that the private cannabis industry is decades ahead of what the government is producing. There's only one place in the United States that the government grows cannabis for research, and it's in a University of Mississippi in the southern part of the country. And they have limited strains, but this new bill that they introduced and cleared half of the government, they cleared the House and are aiming for the Senate, would allow them to use commercially grown cannabis for testing. While they're aiming at trying to study impaired driving, but they're allowing this commercially grown cannabis to cross state lines to states that are not yet legal for study.
Yeah.
So basically what they're doing is, if they pass this, it could actually crack the door open so we can get some real information. Some real information would really help us make a positive move here.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this goes further and that the Senate will do something about it, because, man, you guys don't understand how confusing this is. You can literally drive 100 feet across a state line and you would be arrested.
Yeah. I've seen videos of people that
it's
have had
crazy.
the same issues.
Yeah, I heard a story of Snoop Dogg. He was carrying around some of his medicine, which was legal for him, and then he moved to a different state for one of the shows he was doing, and they tried to arrest him for it. And he's like, "What are you talking about? This is my medicine. The fact that I've moved over a state line doesn't change the fact that I still need my medicine." You know.
Yeah,
that's it. But it's so screwed up around here, man. It's just, we have to get everything on the same page. And if the world could do something like this, where everybody could decide to do one thing one way, we might actually start having a decent culture with this stuff.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
When the States goes, I mean,
go on with this.
The world follows, right? So,
everybody's chatting now.
Everybody knows that we can grow. Home growers can grow way better weed than the government can.
Of course. Until we had our country is so fucked up, it's untrue. We're illegal for everything, and they've since relaxed the laws for medicinal cannabis for those kids suffering from those really bad bouts of epilepsy and stuff. But the company based in Norfolk that used to supply all the cannabis to other countries, medicinal cannabis to other countries, that was partly run by one of our government ministers and her husband, has now been sold to the US.
Oh Lord!
In the last
they
2
sold
months,
that shit far. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, man. So it's now owned by not GM Pharmaceuticals as they were.
The GW.
It's GW in this country, and GM in the US. Yeah, it's now owned by some US investment company. So yeah, it's coming, mate.
It's all about the money, man. They're chasing the peas.
It's all about the money.
Right.
So much money, man.
There was new contracts today in Ireland. We grow an awful lot of hemp. We grow lots of medicinal cannabis. They reckon there could be up to 80,000 jobs in the near future in medicinal cannabis. And once it has a 0.2% THC on it. There's just only today yesterday there was big contracts offered out. There's one or two big producers in Ireland, and they're offering out contracts now to loads of different farmers and nurseries to grow hemp all year round.
Wow.
But yet they're still just so hell-bent, and it's because the establishment that we have over here, they answer to the old people. Old people just have a mentality that if you smoke weed,
you're a drug.
You're a down and out.
That's
You're this, you're that. You know, that's a nice way of putting it.
It's true. I know the words.
We call it over here in America, we call that the Reefer Madness mentality, because that's the movie. And, my mother still believes that if I smoke marijuana, which she has no clue that I do, that I would become insane
Yeah.
murder the family and the next
Yep.
door neighbors and that whole thing. It's crazy.
Well,
But they
obviously,
got it all from the movie back. It was a 1938 movie called Reefer Madness.
Yeah.
I think the
it's
quote
funny film.
was,
U.S.
Yeah.
government propaganda film.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
Very
have to
good,
say,
though.
if you've listened to the track to it, lads, if you like jazz, it's a fucking classic track.
Yeah.
The whole album
You
is
can't watch
actually
the
really
movie
good.
though. The movie's absolute rubbish.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
it's a good laugh. If you get a good
Yeah.
No.
it's a good
Tongue in
laugh.
cheek.
No.
It's funny. Harry Anslinger, though, yeah, he messed a lot of stuff up for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Big history and it's all racist history and stuff,
I'm sure we'll
Whether it
cover it all
was-
eventually on the
Well,
podcast.
that
I'm sure,
all,
yeah.
that don't worry about all that history stuff. That'll all be erased too. It'll all be gone.
Let's just hope the future doesn't get
Yeah.
erased, All right, so
Well, you
let's move
shouldn't
on to the
erase
next
your-
section, eh? That's just about the news and events for this week. So we have the next section of the show is called Famous Stoners. Here's the intro. We've got a Morgan Freeman there. So there we go. Who's on famous stoners this week? Stoners you should know. I think that's you, GB.
It is me, and this is one that everybody will know. It is the big cheese himself is Jesus.
Jesus was a stoner.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, no, lads, this really took me by surprise. Yeah, it was discovered back in the day, back in 1936. It was an hematologist called Sula Bennett. She discovered that she went back and she was translated a particular word, and it kept on popping up in histories going all the way back 5,000 years even, and it was a mistranslation from back to the very first translation from the Hebrew texts, in I think it was the 3rd century AD, no BC, sorry BC, into Greek, and all they done is they mistranslated a word from hemp instead of they had it down as reed.
Okay.
And what it is it was the Kino-Bassum reference, and instead of it should have been Kenna-Bassum. Kenna translates to hemp, Bassum is aromatic,
Aha.
Mhm.
and that's what the main thing was. So what we do is we will jump back to Jesus now.
Right?
So, and what happened with Jesus was everybody thought, or Jesus was supposedly he was like a priest, or well, actually, that we all know he was a priest. Well, that's what we know from the Bible. But if we look at different texts, they say that he was a priest, and the priests had this special anointing oil that was supposedly given to them from the burning bush, with Moses. But this oil was meant to be kept for the priests, and it was meant to be kept for the kings.
The
And
anointed
it was
ones.
meant, the anointed ones, and that's what it was. It was meant to keep them. It was so that they could speak to God.
Yeah. I've read this somewhere. I can't remember where, so I have no way to verify it, but I have for sure read this before or heard this before.
It seems like
Yeah,
cannabis
no,
is used a
that's-
lot in history,
Yeah, at least a bit about the oil. So,
It's
I'm
quite
a
possible then that the water into wine story, they were all stoned.
So they wouldn't
Yeah.
know difference anyway. I'm so high
I
right
think
now.
drugs,
I
they
just
all-
pretend it's wine.
all those
Sorry,
stories, I think we take a lot away from our ancient ancestors and we apply all of our modern, really restrictive ideals and stuff to what they probably would have been doing too. But I think back then they were much more embracing of altered states and these
Oh
types
yeah,
of things.
definitely, 100%.
Well, it's
What-
how they spoke when you
Yeah.
think about it. Even the Indians, and that they still do with their peace pipes and stuff in those hot tents with the steam and everything. That's how they still communicate with their gods and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they do
Yeah,
DMT and shit
the
as well,
smudge
don't they?
fests.
It's not just the
Smudging
ganja.
ceremonies and stuff.
There's all sorts of different things people used to take back in the day. I think a lot of the technology has been forgotten, been illegalized over time,
Yeah, where we've been taught to like fear it or it's dangerous or some other thing. Mostly because it's quite liberating stuff generally when you really use it properly and take the lessons to heart, right?
Absolutely.
So there we go.
The authorities don't want that. Lizard people, right?
But does
Lizard
that
people.
mean Jesus was a stoner? Did he use cannabis himself, or did he just use it for other people and medicine?
No, from what I gather, it's they seem to he used it as a medicine, but they also used it by burning it as well as in their ceremonies.
Mhm.
So they use it as an aromatic as well.
Oh, cool.
In it, but with they even have the recipe is even in the Bible. It's in Exodus 22, 25. And it's not like it's like 9 pounds of weed is needed. It's it comes in, they call it shekels. A shekel roughly, I think it works out to, I think I've worked it out. I'm after losing my notes where I had it, but it was 500 shekels of liquid myrrh, half as much of fragranted cinnamon, 250 shekels of quinibasum, and 500 shekels of cassia, which is another cinnamon. And cinnamon, everyone knows how cinnamon is used. It absorbs, it helps the body absorb other chemicals and minerals. It's why, like, you'll always find cinnamon will always be traces in
Cinnamon. Hello. Have you got
yeah,
that?
no, I've yeah, no, you'll always find them in the vitamin tablets. And so it helps the body absorb everything else.
Okay.
So that's if and then you look at Jesus went against the church of the church of their time, and he gave the medicine to other people. So like he gave it to people that had the shakes. He gave it to people that were losing their sight. He gave it to people that had epilepsy, and so and it helped cure them, and it mightn't have cured them completely, but it alleviated their symptoms.
Yeah.
So that's, but back in those times, obviously it would have been a miracle.
Yep.
It's no different than today.
Well, I say it's a miracle today, but the big farmers won't let it out, will they?
Mm-hmm.
No, but it all comes back to when, wasn't it Big Cotton? They were the ones that turned everybody against hemp and against everything, and they made it illegal. And everyone knows the story of the drug wars, or not the drug wars, of how everybody went against weed. Oh.
Wow.
Evil stuff that calms everybody down and makes everybody happy, man.
Yeah. As
Imagine
opposed
that.
to alcohol that makes everybody fight.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
they had a lot of
Yeah.
that too. You know, that shit's been around for a long time as well. It's just like
Yeah,
humans,
but
just like to
times
alter their
when that's
perception.
been prohibited as well, isn't there? So,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we had a prohibition in the U.S. on alcohol. It was forbidden, and they finally figured out after a few years that you can say prohibition all you want, people are going to get it anyway.
You
of
know.
course.
But
So,
here we
and
still
we
are
have-
with weed. It's a strange thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, not to mention the gangsters.
Yeah.
But it just opens up a black market if you just make stupid things illegal, you know?
Yeah, prohibition never worked. All laws do, and stupid laws especially, all they do is make more criminals because people just, don't give a shit. People can do what they want, especially if it's not dangerous.
So it's a lot of like moonshiners then, but plant-based. Well,
Plant-based
Not-
moonshiners.
well, I mean, even
It's a
the
band name,
moonshine's
that is.
plant-based, isn't it?
A
That's not
moonshiner.
even right.
Right
Yeah,
then, so
moonshine.
the next session, lads, is going to be grow guides. And we're going to discuss how to start your very first grow, what kind of equipment you're going to need and stuff. Here we go.
That's a question we get a lot on from people. So, what is the least kit I can buy and grow the best weed? So, where do we start? Where do you start?
A light.
The light.
The
That's
light.
excellent.
Yeah,
Without the
that's
light, you're not
where the
growing
most amount of money is going to go, right? It's on the light.
You can literally grow anywhere as long as you've got the right lighting.
True. And if you don't have a light, you're not growing anything. I mean,
This
it
is
might
true.
stink and everybody might see it, but with a light, you can still grow it.
So start with
and
the light.
it's, a lot of people make the mistake when they first start. They go for that cheap light. And, I think everybody's made that mistake. I know I did.
Yeah,
Twice,
for
3
sure.
times.
Everyone
It's a
makes
very-
that.
A gradual slope on my upgrades to what I'm at now, and I spent a ton of money on all those
You got-
stupid stuff.
You got a garage full of crap then, like me.
Yeah, absolutely. But you make use of it. I'm gonna hang it for my little seedling, or a couple of my crappy lights for my seedlings and stuff, right? So even if they're not powerful enough for the big tent, you can still sub them in somewhere else.
Maybe I could put the red and blue ones out for Christmas, huh?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, good idea.
So Zion, what kind of lighting would you recommend for a new grower? Somebody just starting out.
To be honest, right, I've got all of it now. I've got your metal halide, your HPS, your LED. If you can afford LED, go for a decent quality LED, something like an Ish, or even if you haven't got the money for an Ish, a Mars Hydro. They're both good quality lights. Good starting point. There you can grow. Anything other than that, no blurples, none of that old school tech, none of the heaty HPS that you need extractors and dehumidifiers for. Nice LED.
Yeah,
I agree.
The technology's there nowadays. There's just quality models out there everywhere. Especially that invisible. You all see I use the invisible sunlights, man, and they're just epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Scrog killed it, man.
Yeah, totally did.
Nailed that Scrog.
I'll miss it.
Beautiful.
I watch the video sometimes and reminisce.
Yeah.
Ali dropped it on a question the other day on the forum. Is like, I saw Mackie with this massive net. Is that something I have to do?
No.
It
It is something you have to do at some point. Yeah.
Oh, you can,
Just for the fun of it,
some point in your grow career, you have to do a Scrog just to say you've done one.
What do you think, TG?
Yeah.
What would you say about the first lights to use?
Oh yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with Zombie. I mean, the LEDs in 2020, right at this date and time, are excellent. I mean, probably, like I always say, the best HPS or HID. I mean, probably will still be better than the best LED. I think. I mean, I have no data to back that up, and Gavita and Fluence and them, they make some really nice lights. But for the most part, in your average tent in your basement kind of thing, for your average home grower, the lights Zombie mentioned are amazing. There's lots out there. I mean, the blurples and stuff that you can't really, well, you can find them, but I find they're a lot less common than even a year ago now.
Yeah, people are fading away and not using them so much, are they?
Yeah, the new chips, I mean, they must have gotten cheaper, and just to build the quantum board style lights, those are the way to go for sure. Less heat, it's just plug it in. They're light. You don't have to worry about weight issues. The old LEDs, I have an old Mars 2 1600, and the thing weighs like 35 pounds. Like it's freaking heavy.
It was a steel case. Yeah.
Yeah, it's massive. It's all the heat sinks and everything inside. So, but yeah, these new lights are great. So, and the coverage.
It's like over the last couple of years, the LED tech has just jumped up a shitload in it.
Yeah,
just proper. Sure. The spectrum's quality nowadays.
That too, yeah. You can get all kinds of different diodes, like the fire reds,
I've got it in mine. I've got the Ish 530 BR, and that's got the extra blue and the extra red, the deep red, the infrared. It's got everything in there. Quality lighting.
Sure, yeah. I mean, nothing beats the sun, obviously.
Of course,
but that's kind of a different
for
thing.
Now,
growing
for now, one day we might figure it out, man. We'll figure out something that's even better.
What I would say is, if you are starting out, for the sake of an extra week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks of saving a few pounds, stay and save the few pounds. Don't waste your money. I wasted a ton of money on my first grower.
Yeah.
A ton of money on equipment and stuff, and I thought it looked great, and I said, oh, that's the best stuff that I could buy. That was cheap on Amazon and stuff. I went out and then bought all the good stuff. So I just wasted. I have two. I can grow two lots. A good set and a bad set. If it comes down to it, even go on to the likes of a site like Percys. Ask people, is that what should I do? What should I go for?
Yeah.
There's been a few guys new fellas have come up, and they've been asking, and it's the same thing. They're saying, just hold off. If it's a thing that if you can afford something that's say £150 now or €200 or something, if it's 250 or €260, give it the extra week or two because you'll see the results.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
You can
HPS
see.
is, it's like Paddy said in the chat there about HPS gets the solid nugs, and it's
Yeah,
like
there's
there is that to it. The HID lights do bring out nice solid dense nugs, but the LED is getting there, man. It can equally match what HPS can do.
well, there's definitely reasons to use an HPS too. Like where I live here in Canada, and it gets really cold, and obviously, like most places, but my basement is not super well insulated, so it gets to be like 15 degrees Celsius down there, which is pretty chilly. But with an HPS, that totally mitigates that issue. I don't have to run any heaters or anything like that, except when the light's off, because HPS throws out that much heat, right? Which can be useful in certain situations. Plus, it's great light, so.
Yeah, it's a great lesson, man. You take a look at your own situation and what scenario you're in, and then get the lights you need specifically for what your grow needs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good point, man. So what about tents?
Stretch
What
your
we saying?
budget a little bit on good light. Yeah.
Electricity is a big thing as well, guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
If you have 2 or 3 HPS, it's like they're 1200, 1600 kilowatts. You're going to be pulling off the electricity. You get the same off it. Like what I get off my ish. I'm running my entire grow is running less than a kilowatt.
Yeah.
That's fans, that's heat, that's extraction, light, you name it, everything, and it's all running under a kilowatt. It runs less when the lights are off. Compared to on my last grow, on my very first one, I was pulling 2.5 to 3,000 kilowatts. But then again, I grow out in an outhouse. So my first one, and it was at Christmas, so I was growing in minus 5 and minus 6 and minus 10 and everything. It was mad.
Yeah. Well, that's
insulation.
What was that strategy?
Insulation is your key if you grow in an outhouse or if you grow in an attic.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And I was going to say too about the wattage. It's important not only for cost, but I mean, if you're like me again in my basement, I only have one outlet, and on that circuit, I only get like on a standard 15 amp circuit. That's only 1,500 watts that I can pull, or whatever.
Right.
However much it is, but you got to be really careful with that, right? Too, just to not go over and fry anything in your house by plugging too many things into your power bar.
Yeah, 15 amps is quite a lot though, unless you've got a heater or some. I mean, 630 watts. My CMH, 630 watts is only like half.
So when I was at everything going in the wintertime, when I ran 310s last year, I had upwards of, it was close to, it was pushing it up to 1,500, maybe 1,400, 1,500 watts.
That's fine. That's what? That's about 6 amps, if that.
Yeah, well, I didn't come out with that.
Maybe my math. Maybe my math's off, because whatever, I remember researching and doing all the conversions and stuff, and I was like really close to the 15 amps. How many amps is 1,000 watts?
That's not even. It's round about 3,000. It depends. Actually, what's the power? What are you running on? 110 or 220?
120 or 110.
Right. Yeah. So double the power. Yeah. Forget me. I forget where you are. Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Everybody lives in the UK. Yeah. You got 3 pins in your sockets like us.
Yeah, 2 pins. Well, when one's a ground, but anyway. But that's also something.
My whole thing runs on an extension lead.
Yeah.
Mine too, but it's a small grow. I mean, TG, yours much a larger grow.
Well, yeah. I mean.
So what are we saying about grow tents then? Should we move on to grow tents?
I've seen partial tours of the temple. It's quite much bigger than mine. I'd have to stretch mine quite a bit.
Yeah, there's heaters and stuff in there too going at some time. So yeah, we'll move on to grow tents. So that's
Monkey, do you want to take that away? You want to talk about grow tents?
Grow tents. Well, I mean, grow tents, while it's not absolutely necessary to have a grow tent, I think it's, in my opinion, extremely handy to have one at least. You could, without a grow tent, you could grow autoflowers effectively and wouldn't have any problems with light leaks. But if you're going to go with a photo period, you've got to have a tent because you got to have those dark hours at night. And the first thing a lot of people are going to do is try and look at the price on a tent. But in my opinion, and everybody, I'd like your opinion on this one too, you're better off to look at how many plants you want to grow before you decide on what tent you want to buy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, agreed.
So
What
let's
do
go
you
to
need-
that
what do you
step.
need for your
Let's go.
medicine?
How many plants would you all recommend? Because I say 4 in a 1 meter tent is just about perfect for any
Yeah.
personal grower.
Yeah, that's about right.
I'd agree. Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
say
I'd
that
say
if you
that's
can't
good.
supply your needs with 4 in a 1 meter tent, you're not doing something right. So I'm going to agree 100%
Yeah.
on that.
So that's
So
what you want to be aiming for.
basically what I'm growing in is 2 tents that would equal to that space, and I'm good. I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, absolutely perfect tent, 1 meter by 1 meter, and at least 160 tall.
Yeah, it depends on your grow style too. Like, I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
stuff like a sea of green, a sog, or whatever you want to call them, you obviously need more plants, but
Mhm.
that's not advanced growing per se, but it's a different technique than just kind of putting your plants in your pots and then watering them to compare. There's a little more you got to do in that situation, but yeah, depending on how or what style of grow you want to do. But yeah, I would definitely agree. In your typical casual smoker, 4 plants is perfect for that size. And again, specific to Canada, being that every Canadian is allowed to grow 4 plants, that's perfect. You know,
Yeah.
absolutely perfect. And what Mackie did with 4 plants in the scrog, obviously, I mean,
that crushed it. Yeah, but I was in a 1.2, but still, I mean, good grief,
Wow.
that was an incredible grow.
Yeah.
I mean, Mackie, that was so intimidating that when I decided to scrog, I had to go somewhere else and actually look at a diary of somebody that wasn't so perfect to realize that maybe I can do this.
Man,
Yeah, that
anybody
was
can do it.
incredible
It
scrog.
looks difficult, but it really isn't, man. Anybody can do it. It just takes time. That's
Well, I
all.
learned that, but that scrog, I mean, those video was so perfect. I mean, it looked like, my gosh, how long did he take to do this?
Oh yeah, but that's video as
Long
well. You do a
time.
lot of editing
Oh,
in
yeah.
that video, you know.
It took as long to make
I
the video.
have to admit, I
Yeah.
haven't looked at them all. I only looked at about 3 or 4 of them, Mackie. I'm sorry, my man.
Oh, no, it's all good. I understand you don't want to listen to my accent or something. I don't know.
All right, so
Well,
back
just
to
on that
tents, though.
time.
I mean, we get back to tents. But what I was going to say on the tents, the 1 meter by 1 meter, the 1 by 1 by 1.6 is a great tent we would recommend, but that doesn't mean that you can't produce enough of your medicine in even a 0.6 by 0.6 tent if you grow it correctly.
Yeah.
You could grow in that thing. You could scrog a 2 foot by 2 foot and potentially pull a couple 100 grams out of it if it's done right.
Yeah, true.
So it all depends on your growing skill, but I think the size going with 4 plants in a 1 meter by 1 meter by 1.6 for a new grower gives you a little bit of padding, because if the grow doesn't go perfect, you're still going to have a decent yield off your first run and you won't be discouraged. What do you guys think about brand of tent? Is there one that sticks out?
Well, I'm really happy with my Mars Hydro. I haven't used a Mars Hydro tent before, but I've just started using one recently. It's a 1.2 meter, and it's real nice, man. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And they're
I've got
not very
a-
expensive as well. You know, it's a big company, so they managed to keep their costs down.
Yeah. Cost is the most important
Yeah,
thing.
budget
I think.
is an important factor.
You know, you
tent-
see, the Gorilla has its
Durability.
reputation.
Sorry, TJ, what you saying, man?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, you know, brands like Gorilla have their reputation, but there's a lot of good tents out there if you look around a little bit more.
Yeah.
And the fabric, like, is the fabric thickness. I think maybe GB was gonna go into that, is important.
Yeah.
Because there's kind of 2 different thicknesses you can really get into. There's the regular, I think it's 680D. I'm not sure the density, I think, per square meter threading or something like that. But yeah, then there's a 1680, which is like canvas, you know. So those are a lot more expensive, but there's a lot of brands that are carrying those more the thicker walled tents, if that's something that you think you might need. But my experience, yeah, I have a Secret Jardin and I have 2 Vivo Suns, and I have really no issues with any of them.
Yeah,
Vivo Suns are a little cheaper, but I mean,
so they all pretty much do the same thing, you know. You just want to make sure that it's light proof. That's the most important factor.
Yeah.
Make sure no light sneaks in there. What do you think, Monkey?
At the end of the day, if you feel the need that you can't like go for the expensive one, even though you might need it, you can always chuck a sheet or something over to add a bit more protection.
Yeah.
Or
just like I have mine in a windowless basement, so I don't even need. I don't really give a shit if mine are lightproof. You know.
Yeah, mine's dark all the time as well. So
yeah. So
no
just keep the lights on.
Case in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah. GB built his own box room, didn't he? So it's going to be dark in there.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, it's not as hard to keep it dark as people kind of worry, and it is definitely something you want to do, but it's definitely more doable and less stress than maybe new growers might think.
Yeah,
So,
I think
especially with all the tents that are available, right? So
exactly.
So what do you think, Monkey? What tents would you recommend?
Well, my tent, I have two. One is a Cool Grow, which is an off-brand that I absolutely love. I don't even think it's made anymore. And the other one's a Viva Sun. And for me, it was more about the tent features. Where are the ports? How many ports do I have?
Yeah,
Where do my power come in? How
Mhm.
tall is it? Is this going to fit under a shelf?
that's
So, I mean,
important
all of
too.
those were factors for me. But
I was just gonna say my 4x4 I had to buy specifically because it was 6'1" and my basement's only 6'3", like
there you
ceiling
go.
clearance. Most 4x4s you buy are at least 6'5" up to 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was out of luck with 99% of the stuff out there.
Yeah, my grow space is underneath a shelving area that the tents are 20 inches wide and the shelves are 18 inches wide. And so I had to have the tent that was exactly the height of the shelf so I could remove the brackets and put the shelf on top of the tent. But you know what? Happy wife, happy life.
I live by that motto.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those deals. You walk down the hall, it doesn't bother her. She's good. Okay, we're good. But anyway, no, I think, you know, the tents, it might be one of the areas you could maybe save a few bucks on and find something on sale.
I agree. I mean, you don't need the Dolce & Gabbana tent, right?
No,
So.
if you're gentle with it and
I
don't
don't think.
use it, I think it'll last.
I didn't know they made
It's
one,
nice
man.
Yeah. Oh, they do.
It'll be expensive,
Yeah.
that one. Damn.
I'll have
It's
to put
got
it
some.
next to my Gucci. I'm sorry.
So what are we saying about
diamond
extraction then? Because extraction is always important for your grow tent too. Say you had a 1 meter extractor, what kind of size and brand extractor would you go for? What do you think, Zian? You want to take that one?
I like RVK.
Yeah, I like
Got no
RVK.
issues with them.
Yeah.
I've had it from, well, I've had two. I've had a 6-inch and a 5-inch. Oh, actually, I've got three: a 6-inch, a 5-inch, and a 4-inch. I've had them since basically day one. But I've got a massive carbon filter with oversized ducting, and they're all pumping into that. So they're nice and quiet with a speed controller. They're reliable. I've had no issues with them. Pretty good as far as I'm concerned.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what do
Yeah,
you
wanna-
use? TG,
Sorry?
what do you use, man?
Well, my three are pretty cheap. Well, they're just the $30 Vivo Sun ones from Amazon. Really, like I said, they're not the quietest. They don't have the speed controller built in or anything like that. But they're 195 cubic feet per minute, and my 1.2 by 1.2 by however tall tent is, it's only 96 square feet, something like that. So I figure even with a couple bends in my ducting and stuff like that, I have more than enough CFM just with that little cheap fan.
Yeah.
But ideally, I want to get into something bigger and more powerful so I can like connect all my tents together and then just have a central duct right out the chimney like I have just the one pumping right now. Because right now I'm running, like I say, 3 different fans on 3 different timers and stuff like that with carbon filters, and it's just kind of a pain in the ass to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
That's the way I do it, TG.
Yeah, get something that'll fit your tent, basically. If you don't need it to be not loud, then buy cheaper. But again, with cheaper stuff, you're going to probably have to replace it. Plastic components aren't going to last as long spinning for infinity hours like some of them do. But yeah.
So what are you saying about yours, GB?
It was just the way TG was saying about that. He wants to link all his tents together. That's how I have my new system. Is all set up. I have my veg tent, my propagation / veg tent. That's being drawn into my flower tent, and then that goes through. Because I have small tents, I'm only growing in an 80 by 80 because it's a thing with me and the husband. He doesn't he doesn't really agree with me growing because it's so illegal in Ireland. So I had to compromise. I had to go down from a 5x5 down to a 2x2. It was heartbreaking. So heartbreaking.
And that's why you've run out of weed.
That is how I've run it. Well, no, that was other circumstances. That was COVID related, and there was meant to be a lot of work being done in the house and in the gardens and stuff, and that's all got delayed. So yeah, I decided just to get on with it and grow.
What about you, Monkey?
But that's how I do
What
it.
extraction are you using?
Two tents, two different extractors. One of them, well, the tents are only 0.41 square meters, and I'm kind of an overkill guy. And one tent does 400 watts of LED lights, which is way too much. It also has a 600, not 600, 6-inch, 350 cubic inch extractor in it because just in case. So I way overkill on cooling. That way, if I need it, I turn it on, and if I don't, I turn it down. And then the other tent has got a 400 CFM, AC Infinity on it.
Right.
So
Okay.
I just go, I go for the quietest I can, and I probably quadruple what I'm supposed to have in the tent. That way, I never have to worry about it.
You don't get any issues with the
It
too
is
much
so
negative
hard.
pressure?
What was that? I couldn't hear TG.
Oh, sorry. I was just asking about your negative pressure. Some guys have issues with some of the cheaper tents. At least I've heard them actually like bending some of the supports and stuff because there's too much air being sucked out. You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, you would think that would be a problem, but that's what I did. Is I built that
Yeah.
box. Basically, what it is you open up the side window, complete side window of a tent, and it's a cardboard light baffle.
That's
But it allows full flow through that window, so there's almost zero back pressure on it. But you're right.
Smart.
You're exactly right. If you would put that big of an extractor on a small tent without proper intake, you could definitely suck that tent completely in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just prefer, for me, I prefer to have the cooling thing. It's just.
Yeah, no, for sure. It definitely.
My personality is push it until it breaks and then back off a little bit. So my grow is usually built around that philosophy.
We can never have too much airflow. So.
Yeah, well, it's me. It's not, can't have too much airflow, can't have too much irrigation, can't have too much light, but I can always dial everything back.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's my thing. But I would definitely not recommend a new grower to do what I did, and that is to overbuy on your intake. You really don't. From my small space, I could have definitely got away with a 3-inch.
Really?
Yeah, I use mine.
I didn't even know they made them that small.
There's a few of them out there. But a 4-inch, I could run a 4-inch at half speed probably, and it would be fine. But I would prefer to keep my outdoor room at as close to my indoor tent space temperature as possible. And the way you do that is just keep moving air. And so I have a lot of ventilation.
So we've covered tent and lights. We didn't really cover wattage, but we can come back to that. And then we've got extraction. But carbon filter is a massively important part of the grow kit, man. So what would you recommend for grow kit? For your carbon filter? GB, you want to smash that one?
I personally go with Red Scorpion filters. Okay. I think they're on par with the Rhino Pros, and they're just so much cheaper than them. That's what I kind of go. I think you'd want to go with a good carbon filter, especially if you're grown in a restricted country like in the UK or in Ireland or in Australia and other parts. You have to, like, it's the main rules are no SST, no cell, no smell, no tell.
Mm-hmm.
Smell is a big thing, and you all know, like, it fucking stinks.
That's it when it's in flower, especially in harvest. You know, when you go through harvest, that smell travels for miles. Gotta make sure it's well covered with a good filter. Wouldn't it be a matter of opinion,
though? I mean, you say it stinks. Some of us kind of like that smell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love it, but like your neighbor might not like it, and your neighbor might think, "Oh my God, they're smoking cannabis," and they'll ring the cops on you, and then the cops come bashing in your door, and it's our draconian laws that we have over here.
Mm-hmm. And also, that is one of the nice things about having it legal in Canada. I mean, yeah, everybody grew before, but now you don't have to be as worried that someone's gonna smell it because maybe they just assume everybody grows now. Because
so do you just not use a carbon filter then?
No, I do on one tent. Just if I have to vent, like I have 3 tents in my basement right now.
Yeah.
Only one of them is actually connected to my chimney ducting. The other one, I need to get a bigger fan really, or reduce the the bends in the duct and stuff before I hook that other one up. So if I am venting right into my basement, then I definitely will throw a filter on there because it definitely stinks. I mean, smells
So
very
pungent.
strong.
Yeah, pungent.
Yeah.
That's the word I like.
Yeah.
It's very high in pungency.
Mhm.
No, I
Whether
just
it stinks or
normally would
not is a
vent
matter of
right up my
opinion.
chimney.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
Zian, you got some beast of a carbon filter, right?
Yeah, lucky me. Haha. I do a lot of work in like properties and stuff, and I get to go to all these grows that the police have raided and stuff. Thankfully, one day, massive 3 foot by 18-inch carbon filter just left because it was too heavy for them to carry. Not for me.
Um,
I've got basically 3 tents running into that. I'm pretty sure it's not a well-known make, but it's huge. And it wouldn't even fit into my attic. I had to modify the attic hatch to get it up there.
Nice.
so I don't think anybody's going to get hold of one of them anytime soon.
Probably not.
You know?
Probably not.
You know, because what usually gets missed out with all this shit with extraction and carbon filters is the ducting. You know,
The ducting.
and that shit's
Oversized
expensive.
ducting.
It's expensive
Really
shit as
important.
well.
Yeah,
know.
because it's hydro related.
Can
Isn't
be
it?
if you go
Anything
with
hydro
sound
related is
reduction
expensive.
stuff.
Mm. But you see about there's different kinds of ducting as well. Do you just all use the standard silver ducting?
I use actual metal.
All
I
right.
don't like that flexible plastic stuff. Now, I think it leaks too much light for my
Yeah,
comfort,
it does.
and it does restrict airflow some.
Sure.
I just use the plain old RAM aluminium stuff.
Yeah.
I'm planning it. I find I see. I heard Monkey was talking about. He uses the AC Infinity. It is just so hard to get AC Infinity stuff over in Ireland. I tried, and the customer service is absolutely appalling. It is so hard to speak to somebody in the place, and I even stayed up till like fucking 3 o'clock in the morning to try to speak to one of these people, and no, it is just so hard. Because that's what I want. I want to run all AC Infinity stuff.
Yeah.
Because it like you know yourself, Monkey, it works. It deals with your humidity. It speeds up and speeds down when you're to keep your temperatures just perfect.
I didn't buy
No,
that.
it's
To be honest with you, though.
That's pretty cool. But
I just bought the regular speed control one because I'm already in an AC aircon building, so I don't need, everything stays the same temperature. So if I set it and forget it, walk away. So, but I know that.
Oh, you see, that's
why I like the
yeah.
winter.
You see, you're lucky.
Well, lucky, yes, but I have no choice. It's too hot here to do it any other way. That you can't do it.
True. You see, in Ireland and in the UK, we have a fairly moderate climate. It's same in the likes of Amsterdam or the Netherlands and stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty similar to Canadian weather, but we don't get it. We don't get as severe. We don't get the really, really cold, but we don't get really, really hot either. Well, we don't in Ireland. I don't know about in England. You just get pretty hot temperatures.
Yeah, Israel and the Gulf Stream. You don't know what cold is.
You don't know cold. You wait till your toes are black and then it's cold.
I can honestly say I don't know cold.
Yeah. Well, why do you guys think my plants always turn so blue?
Yeah, that's why he's got such good pictures all the time.
We thought it was paint shop.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's like 14 degrees down there.
Oh my
Or,
God.
I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit.
So that much pretty
Cold.
much covers the basics for
Cool.
About
apartment.
58.
You know, there's plenty more to cover, obviously, because it depends on what medium you're going to grow in and what nutrients you're going to use. There's a lot more that goes into it, but that's the basics. If there's more you want to know about setting up, then go and check out the guide on Percy's Grow Room.
Absolutely. But yeah, that'll get you started. Those are the pieces you need.
Lights, tents, extractor, and some ducting.
A lot.
With carbon filter.
Yeah, beyond that, you're gonna need beans in a pot and some medium.
That's
That's
the
it.
one. And you're off.
Absolutely.
It'll be good times.
And then Percys will sort you out for the rest.
Yeah, all the information you need is over at percysgrowroom.com.
Absolutely.
So, if you're looking for what strain to grow, I think Monkey's got an idea of the strain of the week. Here, check out the strain of the week intro. Strain of the week.
You know I can't hear that, right?
Oh. Right, what are you saying there, Monkey? Have you got
Yeah, since we're Percy's Grow Room, I decided that for the first episode, we might as well go ahead and start with something that is very familiar to Percy's. And let's talk about Jack Herrera, a legendary strain developed in the 1990s, mid-90s by Sensi Seeds.
wow.
And how it is with the real famous strains, you really don't get a perfect match on genetics. And so
Yeah.
the things that are known about Jack Herrera is that it's a Northern Lights 5 and a Shiva skunk, but there's some kind of a haze hybrid that's mixed in there in the original Jack Herrera that they're not exactly sure what it is, or they're not exactly telling what it is, I should say.
Secret ingredient.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
everybody
why the
wants to do
flavor's
that.
so good, man.
Man, if you're a breeder, wouldn't you want to do that?
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really good smoke. I would recommend everybody go ahead and try it. I think it's pretty easy to grow.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I didn't do it with the Percy's challenge because I had just finished a run of Jack Herrera. But I mean, we ran Seedsman Jack Herrera. We didn't run Sensi Seeds. And I found that the plants were, relatively short, well kept, and not really too wild and easy to grow. Would everybody agree with that?
Yes, definitely.
100%. It was an awesome plant to grow. I can't wait to grow it again. Jack is more sativa, I guess, in the sense where it's got those hazy kind of undertones.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like 55% sativa.
Yeah, I found it was the stockiest little bush that I'd ever grown though, and the coal is just it trained itself basically. It was an amazing little thing.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a really well-behaved plant. Like it can range anywhere from 24 to 13% THC, but it always has around that 1% CBD that gives you that nice balance. It's not that real spacey strain that's going to just knock you out. And it's well known that it's a really deep thought kind of a peaceful kind of a weed. It's really good for conversations and party environments. A lot of people even like it for a med for daytime, for pain or stress or anxiety.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's the perfect hybrid. I've heard it referred to that many times, and I 100% agree. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've grown it a few times, man.
It's definitely not a berry flavor that's common right now these days, though. I mean, what do y'all get out of it? For me, when I smoke Jack, I get lemon and pine and a little hint of pepper on the backside. But
definitely peppery.
Mine is pure peach, man. If anybody's had the candy fuzzy peaches, the Allen candy fuzzy peaches, looking exactly like that. Just it's like eating a peach, eating fuzzy. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that comes from.
Start driving right now to taste that. Yes,
very descriptive.
Delicious.
Beautiful stuff, though.
Yeah, some of these descriptions
are super easy to grow. A very compact plant, and it's like if you haven't grown Jack, do yourself a favor and pick up some beans and just go for it. When it comes in an auto nowadays.
Yeah, you can get the seeds from the vault, and you can use the Percys discount code. Obviously, that's for members only. So make sure you signed up to Percys, and you'll be able to get the code 20% off at the vault.
And then you get a whole bunch of more free seeds too, because the vault's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Monkey. Carry on.
Jack is considered by many people to be your ideal wake and bake. And I know for me, I am a med user. I have back pain and I've got knees and arthritis and all. You want to hear about my problems? I'll tell you all. But nobody wants to hear about my problems.
Well, that's 12 o'clock gone, man.
Really good. If I got a long day's work ahead of me and I need to get rid of the pain, I will do a wake and bake with Jack, and it is an excellent, for me at least, an excellent daytime med. I mean, it knocks the edge off the pain and makes you not. I guess the best way to describe it for me is it makes me not think about the pain.
Yeah.
It might still be there, but I'm not thinking about it. I'm just doing. So I love that stuff. Absolutely.
Dulls the pain.
Yes, it does. It dulls your perception of the pain. I don't know, it's hard to describe it. I mean, but any medical user, the first time they use it, they'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, it just pops into them receptors, doesn't it, in your brain and blocks that pain coming.
Yeah,
and it's great. I love it.
Absolutely, great stuff, man. Great stuff, though. But anybody have anything else on this?
No, it's one of my favorite strains, and I've tried it a lot, man. Tried it a lot. But
well,
Jack
you killed the strain, Mackie, and that scrog. Your yield was off the charts.
He did kill it, and it was beautiful as well.
Yeah, it was nice as well, man.
There's a lot. My gosh.
Oh,
You gotta hunt around though, because there is like Monkey said, there's a lot of different versions of it around,
yeah.
and
The
obviously,
seedsman version is the one I've grown a few times.
I've
yeah,
done the seedsman I think three times now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if
I
you're looking
hope
for what's called the original Jack Herrera, you got to go to Sensi for
Yeah,
that.
Sensi's the one for that.
for sure.
Yeah, and there is a definite distinction there. That was an interview. I think TG, I think you went and posted a link to that interview with Jack Herrera Jr.
Yeah, he was on a podcast.
What was
I
it?
remember.
Weed Week. Yes, Weed Week.
Weed Week
I'm sorry,
weekly
but
podcast. Yep.
you know,
That's a
one
great
thing
podcast as
I have
well.
to think a little bit about that though. But no, it was interesting how his son described the real Jack Herrera, and there's even in their estate, their how you want to call it, their legacy. They're trying to preserve the real Jack Herrera. So evidently, there's certain dispensaries in the West that you can go to and specifically ask for "quote unquote" the real Jack Herrera. And they're saying it's a completely different experience. And that's something I'm definitely, next time I'm out on that side of the country, I'm going to try that.
Yeah, no, it is a very common one. It's just like, your Girl Scout cookies or your OG Kush. It's like every prominent breeder kind of has their version, and Jack Herrera is no different. But again, it's a great strain that everybody should have a go at, I think.
Absolutely
then.
so.
So we'll move on to our interview section. There's no intro just yet. We just move on to interviews. So this week, me and Monkey sat down with Jordan River from Growcast, which is the Cannabis Growers podcast. The official Cannabis Growers podcast, I think is the title they use. But, it's
I think that's what he calls it.
Yeah, it's been around for a while, this podcast. As you probably know it. If you don't, then you should check it out. But we spend like half an hour just talking about growing and how podcasts work with Jordan. And it's just me and Monkey. So, without further ado, we're going to load up the interview section and you can have a listen. Here's a fancy tune.
Got that West.
Love the Rose Garden in Portland. That's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
And
We went there too.
And the Japanese gardens. Oh, man.
Right across the street, right? That little place where there's two of them right next to each other.
Absolutely. I got lost for hours to find a little cove there in the Japanese garden and just hang out for a while. It was
Exactly,
so peaceful.
man. You know it. You've been there. You get it. That's awesome.
Anyway, let's do an interview.
For sure, yeah. So,
well, I already started recording, so because you guys
Okay.
were just off on one, so that was sweet, man. We like it to be late,
All right.
Well,
they call me Monkey. I actually go by Monkey Dude, but they call me Monkey on the website, so it kind of stuck.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm Mackie from Percys Grow Room.
Monkey and Mackie, good to meet you. Good, fantastic. Well, we've been speaking, but it's good to actually be here talking.
He's putting a voice to the name. I already know what you sound like,
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, you were actually my catalyst to start growing. I kind of got interested in it and visiting out there in the West, and I started listening to Jordan River, and it gave me the courage to think that maybe I can actually do this. You talked a little bit about tints and a little bit about this and that and the other. You're not really heavy into, the details of starting your own grow, but you gave me enough, firepower to get up and go ahead and take on this thing.
Hell yeah, man. That's one of my favorite stories to hear. That's really why I do this, is getting people into it. And you actually point to something that we're really trying to address on Growcast, which is we're really good at getting expert guests and diving into subjects and really like expanding growers who are beginners or intermediate. But really what we want to do is like a startup guide, because that's something we're missing. And it's like a touchy subject because we like to cover everything. We don't like to really come down hard on any arguments, but we might do a beginner's growers course and say, hey, this is just what works for us. There's a million ways to do it. But something that brand new growers like you just described can get into and learn without any prior knowledge.
Yeah, that's exactly the same for Percys as well. We just try to keep it as simple as possible. We don't want to intimidate anybody with too much information.
Yeah, I think it becomes more complicated the more you listen to the big companies. They tell you to buy this, buy that, add this, add that.
Yeah.
And actually, growing is pretty simple.
I think it really depends on your intent. I love the keep it simple strategy, and I think that that's generally the best move. That's what I do as well. But yeah, I mean, with all the research coming out and talking to guys like Dr. Coco, like you can drive yourself crazy trying to overdo it for sure. I like keeping it simple, and I recommend your average grower keeps it simple. But my God, the complexities are there if you want to go deep, right?
Yeah, yes. Dr. MJ knows his stuff as well.
Yeah, I love that guy, man. He's truly one of my favorite Growcast guests. Actually talking to him later today.
Oh, sweet.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, he's got so much knowledge, man. He'll actually almost confuse you with his knowledge if you're not careful.
That's what I said. I end the episodes with more questions than I start them with, but I think that's a good thing. And again, like, I don't have all the answers. I don't have the brain power to like store all that in my head. But if I do enough interviews and record them and get them down, they'll live out there forever. And then people can pick and choose the information they need, you know?
So how many episodes are you on now?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't even know. That's actually really sad. I don't know how many episodes of Growcast there are. Well over 100. I'll tell you there's more than 100.
Yeah, it says on iTunes there's 135.
Okay, there you go.
iTunes doesn't always store.
And yeah, we have archived episodes as well. So who knows, man? We have a lot. We have a lot of stuff, and the member podcast. So, I mean, we just got such a big response for Growcast, and to be honest, I considered ending it a few times because my other projects were going well, and I'm crunched for time. But once I brought Rob Smith, my producer, on, and he helped me create the membership at mygrowpass.com, that's when everything changed, and we got the workflow down, 2 episodes a week, all of that. And man, I just want to give back to this community that showed me so much support and constantly reaches out saying stuff like you just said. You know, you helped me get going. I learned this. You recommended this. I just love that stuff, man. That's why I do it.
I'm not sure that the people who are outside of the cannabis community can even appreciate the kindness and the giving and the caring inside of the community.
That's a great way to put it.
It's really something I would love to share that with the rest of the world if they would listen.
You're so right.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, we're not those evil people. We're trying to just do our own thing and be left
It's
alone.
the best community, man.
I think that is why the cannabis community is the way it is. Because for so long we've all been like the degenerates, the black sheep of the family, you know, some kind of rejects because we smoke a little bit of herb.
Right, and it's also a false image, right? Where it is a healing herb and it is a friendly community. So like I think of the poker community, which is like generally degenerates, and they don't have the same camaraderie that the cannabis community does. And you're right, there was a bit of a solidarity in falsely being labeled as kind of evil.
Yeah, that's a government kind of thing, don't you think?
Course. Yeah, no doubt.
You know, it had to be so evil that we could actually outlaw it.
100%. We did a really interesting cannabis history a long time ago, examining basically just the coincidence, the coincidence between drug laws and repression of people who use those drugs. So if you look in America, as soon as the Middle Eastern influx of immigrants came in, they outlawed hashish. As soon as the Chinese immigrants, they wanted to keep them down, so they outlawed opium, but only the special kind of opium that they use. You go all the way back to Napoleon's invasion of Egypt, where everybody was using cannabis, the high and low class in Egypt. And Napoleon actually outlawed cannabis in Egypt after he conquered it. And then he brought the plant back to France to be studied. So it's really not a new thing. It's not any specific culture. It's just a human thing. I want to control you. You use this thing, I'm going to illegalize it. It's as old as history.
I think we're on the same page.
When you started Growcast, did you intend for it to be as big as it is?
No, I had no idea. I didn't know there were going to be this many growers. I didn't know so many states were going to come online between when I started recording all the way back in 2014, launched in 2015. How many states have come online since then? Oklahoma, Illinois had our horrible, shitty pilot program, but we've come a long way. Anyways, I had no idea it was going to be this big.
So you just started it for fun, right?
Basically, yeah. Me and Wolfman were just recording, talking, and I just wanted to help other growers like he helped me. And eventually it came to the point where it's like, we can do more, right? We can do giveaways. We can do a membership program that provides discounts that'll save them the membership fees and then some. Like we really want to provide value to the cannabis industry. That's been our goal since day one. And that's how it all started. But to answer your question, I had no idea there were going to be this many growers. There weren't very many grow podcasts out there. That's why I love what you guys are doing. And one thing you'll hear on Growcast all the time is we do not view other podcasts as our competition at all. I'm so happy. We help people get their shit off the ground all the time. Like if you're trying to do a show and you reach out to me, I'll send you a calendar link and squeeze you into my incredibly busy schedule so we can chat for 30 minutes about launching a podcast. Like I do that shit all the time. And it's because, I don't know, this is what I do. I love it. I want to create value. I want to push shit forward. The membership program being successful and making money is a great ancillary benefit, but I'm more stoked about the giveaways we do and lighting people's days up and getting people growing and making a change in the world. That's what excites me the most, man. I can sit and play poker all day if I want to make money. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to change the grow world. That's what I'm trying to do.
Good mission.
Yeah, and you're doing well with it, you know?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, man. We do what we can, you know?
So that was your first show. What was your intention with your first show? What was your audience? What was your aim? Where were you going with this?
So it was funny because Wolfman was my kind of partner in crime. He taught me how to grow in Humboldt County. I grew professionally from 2010 to 2015 out there in Humboldt County, California. Maybe for the worldwide listeners, that's the Emerald Triangle, kind of the epicenter of cannabis in the United States. So yeah, Wolfman was my mentor, and he taught me just about everything I was doing out there. And every time we would hang out, we would talk about growing. Even when I would say to him, like, listen, let's just hang, man. Let's talk about other shit. It always turns to growing. You guys can relate to that, right?
Yeah, of course.
A little bit. Yes.
Because we were both professional growers too. So yeah, we decided to turn on the mics. We say we're doing this every fucking night. Why don't we put it out there so other people can listen? That's how Growcast got started.
Wow.
I struggled for many years, really, until I met Rob Smith from the Atlas Plant Trainer, and he came on as a producer. And I gave him a huge portion of the show and said, you know, I want to make this worth your while. And he's been a huge catalyst. He's the only person who can keep up with my work ethic. And that's why we now have everything we have with the ongoing giveaways and the membership program. And yeah, man, we've been hard at work at this stuff.
Excellent. I do remember when that partnership happened and Rob was starting to cover the East Coast.
Well, you guys remember how you would like go a month and release maybe like 2 episodes for the entire month? And now we're like pumping out 2 a week.
You know,
it's tough when you have to research the guests, reach out to the guests, book the guests, record, write the questions, record the interview, edit the interview, publish the interview, market the interview, and create a membership program. One person cannot do all that.
Okay, Mr. Mackey, are you listening to this?
I'm listening.
Yeah.
It really is about relationships, guys.
Yeah, Mackey does a lot. The moderators are trying to take a little bit off of him, but you know, he every time we take something off, he adds one more thing on. You know.
Yeah, I'm shocking. There's always room for more on the mountain. I'll get over it eventually.
Exactly. But anyway, you know how it is, Jordan. You know, you always have more work to do.
No, absolutely. And let me say, that's what it's all about in the beginning, is that struggle, right? Doing everything yourself, writing every email yourself, going through hell, not making any money, whatever it is, you know, starting any project or business, you're going to experience that. Of course, a podcast is a little bit more relaxed, but there's still a lot of stuff that comes with it. And you have to struggle, you have to push through that, and then find the relationships where you both create value for each other. Find the win-win relationships, get clear on those relationships, be generous and giving in relationships, develop those relationships. Guys, that's my advice for growers. That's my advice for media producers. That's my advice for every area in life, is give value, cultivate your relationships, and cultivate a better garden. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah,
well,
great advice.
You just use different words for the golden rule,
Yeah,
Mr. Jordan.
well, we've forgotten about that, man. A lot of people.
I know it. I mean, if everybody in the world would just live by one simple rule, this would be a whole 100%, new place.
Man. You nailed it. And that is the golden rule, man. You treat other people how you want to be treated. That's really what it's all about. And you're supposed to learn that in kindergarten, but some of us still struggle.
You know, karma comes back and rewards you when you do that. I believe it, at least.
100%, man. Yeah, you guys are
when you expect it and you're down on your luck and somebody turns around and that hand comes right back out because you offered it back when they needed help. And it happened to me so many times. And that's what I want to do in the cannabis world. I want to reach back and I want to grab that new grower and I want to pull him up a little bit and get him going.
That's great, man. That's exactly right. And when you get started, right, there's so much confusion. Like you don't even know where to begin when you first get started. So having someone there is so useful.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You get a lot of diagnosis from new growers, and you know the first question is, can anybody fix my sick plant? But there's no other information. Yeah. And that's where we are, you know, and we take it from there.
Well, can we dig into that? Is that because I think ideally someone would get into a forum and post and say, hey, I'm getting started, you know, what do I need to buy, all this stuff. Do you think they're scared to do that because they're going to get a million different answers, B, a bunch of trolls like posting mean and maybe incorrect stuff? So instead they just try it on their own until they get to a point where they're literally, their plant has a deficiency. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think because there's still a lot of people out there growing illegally.
That's true. That's
a major concern for a lot of people. You know, they're trying to keep their anonymity, but that's hard to do on the internet.
That's also true. That's a really good point. I can be kind of insulated when you're in a state where it's legal.
Yeah, you do forget.
When half my audience might be in a place where it's not.
Yeah, they'll go to prison for doing it, you know. So they don't want to go and post up pictures of their plants online for people to see. That's crazy. What if they track the IP address? What if they do this, do that, you know? So there's a major concern for people. But with Percys, we're very secure.
Nice.
But we emphasize that it's just for personal growing only. We don't have any commercial growers, so it's just for people who want to grow their own cannabis.
That's cool.
So I think that, you know, it sort of helps with the gray areas in between all of
Oh,
that.
100%. And that's why I like being on the media content production side, because it's like I'm just putting out a media file for people to listen to. Like, it's not my responsibility. The government can go fuck themselves. I'm not encouraging anything that And the other thing is, especially here in the United States, and I think it's the same on the other side of the pond, you can grow hemp. Why? What's to say that my Grow Pass member isn't growing hemp? But there's nothing illegal with, you know what I mean?
Still in the cannabis family.
So exactly. So for all I know, all these Grow Pass members who could be coming from other states, they're just growing hemp perfectly legally. So they can get off my back, man. And I don't think that there's any real risk there. And that's why what we do is so valuable. You know, giving out that information.
Well, at the end of the day, you're only selling information.
Exactly.
That's all it is. It's information.
Exactly, man.
You know?
Yeah. And I'm not trying to put down, like, I love the breeders who are selling seeds and pushing that whole boundary. Like, fuck yeah, I love all that. But that's just not what we're really getting into yet, anyways.
Right.
What are you getting into in the future? You got any major plans? Anything you want to reveal?
Yeah, actually, for sure. Rhizo Rich has been working.
Sweet.
Yeah, Rhizo Rich has been working on some breeding projects, and he gives me samples all the time. Rhizo Rich grows the best buds I've ever had, honestly. Like, he's so talented, man. So we're going to put together a strain and probably give it out to the members and let them test it. Ooh. And maybe if they like it, we'll do some distribution. I don't know. We're just putting our toe in the water.
Do you have a name? Any name ideas?
We were fucking around with some names. Yeah. I mean, clearly you could do Wolfman's Dream, obviously the flagship Wolfman. Yeah. You put the cartoon sleeping Wolfman with his little night candle and his Ebenezer Scrooge hat on there. Wolfman's Dream.
Sounds made already.
I think one we were considering calling Fuckleberry. I'm not sure if that one's on the table still, but it was like some F strain combined with Huckleberry. Anyways, it's really in the early stages, so I probably shouldn't even be like saying names out, but you asked. So those are some of the names we've been kicking around.
Nice.
Really nice.
So, yeah,
man. Something to look forward to there.
So back to your question, why do we think growers come up with just the question about what's wrong with my plant? Mackie hit it pretty close, but there's also something else. It's trying to convince these new growers that they're better off buying good gear than cheap Chinese gear right off the bat, because we see a lot of people come in who are afraid to ask for opinions and advice, and they've found the cheapest, most marginal piece of kit they can possibly find and expect to grow top quality cannabis.
Yeah, no.
And so now you're trying to babysit somebody through a grow with gear that's really not intended to grow weed.
What have you find is the biggest category that gets let down the most? Do you find that cheap lights are causing a lot of problems? Cheap tents or cheap newts? Lights?
Lights. Got to be lights. Lights. Yes. Everybody wants to save $1 on lights. And hey, when I started, I bought enough cheap Chinese lights. I still got them in a box right there. They're not going to do me any good. I can't use them. I can't sell them. But anyway, eventually I spent the money, and I would have been a whole lot better off if I would have just bit the bullet, spent the money in the beginning, and I wouldn't have a box of lights sitting there, and my first runs would have been 100%. Way better.
I think when you're talking in generalizations, I 100% agree with you. I think that obviously everyone has their own intent. Like, maybe you're doing some sort of mega budget grow, and you're just not going to expect a whole lot of yield out of that grow. But if someone's like just getting started and they're looking to produce a home grow, it's like lights are one of the few things that go and get yourself. I think Cultilux has a warranty. Like, go and get yourself a nice HID light or a nice LED light with a warranty. Just that's the one thing that I might spend money on, to be honest. AC Infinity fans, like a good fan and a good light. And grab a tent. I mean, there's some high quality ones, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying I think lights might be up there as far as if you're going to splurge, that would be the item I might do it.
Yeah, yes. I agree.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, Jordan. Back in the day when I first started listening to you, you were not a fan of autoflowers at all. You did everything you could possibly do to avoid them. Is that still pretty much the Jordan River stance on autoflowers?
Let me clarify.
Please do.
I had the same opinion of autoflowers that everyone has had for decades, all those years ago. But let me be clear. That wasn't because I was presented autoflowers and like, oh, this is inferior. This is just stuff I heard from other growers. In Humboldt County, it was all photo period, and it was all clone stuff.
Right.
I never planted a seed in my 5 years that I was growing hundreds of pounds professionally. Never planted a seed. I never needed to. There's clones everywhere in Humboldt. So I had the opinion of the quote master growers, who I learned from, that autoflowers were just an inferior product. And for so many decades they were. I have completely come around only through talking to experts, like your full duplex from Autoflower, your Chad Delaney's, your Mandalorian Genetics, all these people, and also through Instagram and seeing the transformation of autoflowers. It's clear that they're being bred for just that ruderalis autoflower trait, and they're getting rid of all the undesirable shit, which makes sense. We could do. Why couldn't we do that? We just selective breed. They haven't been paid any attention. Of course they stagnated, but now they're really, really moving, and so much so that I think I'm going to try autoflowers maybe my next run. In fact, right now,
you haven't tried them at all yet.
No, still to this day. Well, to be fair,
wow.
I just got my legal grow started up here in Illinois, so this is my first run, you guys, of my own since Humboldt County, 2015. So I haven't been growing. I've been in Frank's garden. You've seen pictures of me on Instagram in gardens. Those aren't my gardens. I finally have my own garden, fully legal. And to be honest, if I have too many males and I kill my plants down to below my plant count, I might get an autoflower tent going right away. So if that answers your question, I used to be against them, but not because of anything personal, just because of things I'd heard and seen. I've since come around talking to experts and seeing pictures, and now I look forward to growing them myself very, very much.
That definitely answered the question. Yeah, we see about half of what we see on our website being grown is autos. I mean, they're great to mix into a tent, like you said. If you need a spot, an auto will take any light cycle.
Yeah.
So
That's it. That's now, but that's only over the last couple of years really they've become something really special. Well, they can match up to photo periods, especially in the same time frame.
Well,
but that never used to be the case.
Right, and I think that, like, speaking to Jeff Lowenfeld, they're going to replace. It's going to be the name. It's going to be the main thing, just as far as like the convenience for farmers. And I really admire Jeff, because if you look at his Instagram page, talk about the keep it simple strategy. He sticks his shit on his back porch. He goes and takes a picture. There's all sorts of like fallen leaves all over the fucking pot. He doesn't care. He treats it like a tomato. He has a different view of the plant. I don't think his view is any less sacred or any less valid. He just doesn't fucking overthink it. And
let nature do its thing.
Yeah, why not, man? So like, it's really
the plants know what they're doing.
It's about your intent, right? Does it flip your cookie to be a scientist and be in there every day and trying to maximize your ppm and testing your runoff, and then do that, man. More power to you. Or are you driving yourself a little bit crazy? Maybe look at Jeff Lowenfeld and see what he's doing. So yeah, a little bit of a riff there, but I do admire that guy quite a bit. And the autoflowers are going to change it from a specialty plant to a house plant. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think that's what Jeff called it. He was kind of comparing the autoflowers to a patio
the next tomato.
It's going to be the new patio tomato.
Totally.
Yeah. Stick it out on your deck and here you go. Cannabis.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I'm doing this super soil run. So I've switched to organic, and I'm never going back. So really this run has a bunch of new things for me, including getting started for the first time in half a decade. Can't believe that. And it's going well so far, man. I got to find some wood to knock on because I don't want it to fail in front of the thousands of listeners, but I will show. I'm not going to try to pretend like I'm some perfect grower.
The pressure.
Yeah, the pressure is there, man. But goddamn, it's so easy, you guys. I'm never going back from this super soil organic style. So much easier.
Oh, yeah. Great. But you hit a point right there. Everybody has a failure now and then. I'm not wishing any bad luck on Jordan River at this point. But you know what? Things happen sometimes, and everybody loses a plant occasionally. It happens. And if it happens, what do? You pop another bean. That's all you do.
Right. I can tell you guys something that I learned from working with a personal development company, Lifebook, trying to basically just improve people's lives, improve people's mindsets. Mistakes are so inevitable, and they're actually the most important growth points in your life. And the problem is people avoid them like the plague. Really, it doesn't matter how big the mistake is. You should ask yourself one question. And this applies to everything. I mean, big stuff, Lost Harvest is big, but we're talking about failed relationships, failed marriage, things like that. The one question you need to ask yourself after the mistake is, did I grow as a person? Did I grow? Did I learn? If the answer is yes, it is a win. It might be a mistake, but it is a win. If the answer is no, you need to go back and re-examine that because you're probably blocking some sort of growth there. Same exact thing in the garden. To pretend that you're some sort of invincible you're invincible to Mother Nature and you're never going to have a bad run is insane. You're going to fail. When you fail, learn the mistake, or you're going to get it again. You're going to get shafted again, because you need to grow. You need to strengthen yourself as a farmer and as a person, right? And really, it's about the perseverance. What Monkey said, pop another bean. What you're talking about there is perseverance, resilience, grit, the ability to get your ass handed to you and still get up the next day and say, fuck it, I'm going to try again.
Absolutely. That's the only way you grow. Now, I'm going to actually go back and I'm going to transcribe your statement there about perfection, and I'm going to have that put in my team.
Oh, man, that's wonderful. I love that, man.
That was an inspirational point. I mean, failures don't have to be failures. And I like, that'll remind me when I'm looking at that plant that's just not perfect. That'll remind me.
Man. That's exactly right. The obstacle is the way. The challenge is the way through. The mistake is actually the growing point. That's a huge mind state shift, and I wish it upon every cannabis garden.
Absolutely. Fantastic point.
Yeah, so anywhere else you guys want to go? I'm doing my grow. What else is going on? Grow Pass is growing strong.
Tell us about Grow Pass so people can go and check you out.
MyGrowPass.com is so killer, you guys. Now, you guys probably have a lot of overseas listeners. We have a content-only package for the overseas listeners, so you can save some bucks, but you don't get access to the discounts and the giveaways. So what we're doing for our members is we got a weekly ad-free member podcast. We got a monthly Ask Me Anything live stream. We have a quarterly giveaway where we give away $6,000 in grow gear. It's nuts, dude. And it's getting bigger every single time. So it used to be the 5K giveaway. Now it's the 6K giveaway. There's resources there like super soil recipe, grow journal, all sorts of PDF resources, guide to terpenes, and then all sorts of like pop-up member contests, pop-up member giveaways. There's members only Slack channel. It's hard for me to talk about Grow Pass in under like a couple minutes. It just seemed like I'm shilling because it's a fucking huge program. You just got to check it out. MyGrowPass.com is what I'll say.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've been over to the website. I recommend everybody go and check it out.
It's pretty absurd, man. We're building and building and building. So come check it out. You always get free Growcast episodes twice a week. So don't worry about that. Be a listener to Growcast. That's fine. But if you want to take it to the next level, get a ton of extra content, start winning seeds and gear and all sorts of fun shit, MyGrowPass.com is where it's at, man. So proud of what we're doing there, you guys. I really am.
I'm really happy that worked for you. I mean, it's really seemed like it's helped your message to expand.
Yeah, and because we can leverage the relationships with the vendors, we're doing more for our listeners. So like every 2 weeks, there's a new giveaway. I'm fixing the links right now, but growcastpodcast.com/giveaways. The listeners get it on free. So we gave away 10 bags of super soil, pairs of scissors, seeds. I am a degenerate at heart. Like I said, like I play poker. I like the rush, and I get a huge rush from giving away prizes to growers. So like that's really the impetus of all these giveaways. And I just want to make sure that people are taking advantage of that. Again, you overseas guys, it's a little bit tougher, but for USA listeners, definitely check out the giveaways and everything we have at MyGrowPass. Yeah, it's just tougher for you UK guys. Like a lot of the cannabis companies, it's hard for them to ship to you guys, and overseas is tough.
Yeah, we'll catch up eventually, I think. Yeah. We're not too far away.
I even think even across the border to Canada, it's something about customs. They really don't like, it's no good.
Well, that's one thing about Percys, though. We are truly an international grow room. We have people from all around the world. We have, any time of the day or night, we have somebody that's awake on that forum.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Mostly me.
Yeah, really. The man never sleeps. What can I say?
Nice, man.
I'm just a machine. I'm AI bot, man. AI.
You're a poker bot running all night. I love it.
That's it. It's just a test. It's a Turing test.
Well,
it's winning so far.
Well, shit, man. I want to make sure that my listeners check out Percys. Percys.
No, thanks very much. Yeah, we appreciate that.
For sure. Yeah, anyone tuning in?
We're around, and we always pride ourselves on being the friendly grow room. We don't
indeed
allow attitudes. Check your attitude at the door.
That's right. No egos, man. No egos.
Yeah, I like that.
So if anybody has looking for a really nice grow room with a really nice place, that's it.
Yeah. I think the positivity is key, and that's something we're pretty hard stance on too on Growcast. Is it's just got to be positive. Like you can share anything you want, really, as long as it's positive.
You just got to encourage people. Don't put anybody down.
One way to grow weed.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Well, thanks for joining us, then, Jordan. We know you're busy, and we'll go and let you carry on running your empire.
Yeah, well, you guys are awesome, man. Let me know if I can come back on anytime. I feel like we can chat more.
Yeah, that'd be
sweet. I want to ask about UK and what's going on over there and everything. So really, anytime you guys want to chat again.
That'd be sweet.
We got a bunch of UK-based mods and stuff. Maybe we need to get them on for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just interested. You know, we're in our bubble, but I like that you guys have a whole community out there. Huge community in the UK, which is crazy, and then of course Spain is online and stuff. So yeah, I'd love to learn more about our listeners and friends across the pond.
We'll organise it, man. Just let us know when you're good for that, and we'll get it sorted.
Do it. Maybe a Growcast simulcast. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, crossover. Nice.
Crossover simulcast. That would be awesome.
Totally down.
That would be. Yeah.
Nice.
Fantastic, Jordan. Really appreciate you.
I'm going to hop
brother.
off. Everybody,
Really.
subscribe to Growcast, of course, mygrowcast.com. Thank you guys. Monkey, Mackie, you guys are the shit. Take care of yourselves. Be safe over there, all right?
Thank you.
All
You
right,
too, man.
man. You too.
Take care, Jordan.
Bye-bye.
Cool guy.
He is cool. He is
Yeah,
cool.
man.
He's easy to talk to, and he definitely knows how to carry a conversation without help. So that's a good thing.
Sweet. That was a good interview, man.
Really good. Yeah.
There we go. Thanks for listening there, everybody. That was the interview. Lads, we're back. Yo, so that's Jordan from Growcast. If you haven't heard of Growcast before, then you can easily find it on any podcast streaming network, iTunes or Podbean, anything. He's on YouTube. Or just Google Growcast, the podcast, and you'll find him. Excellent show. Loads of episodes.
Great show.
Great
Excellent
info.
guy.
Good guess. Yeah, and as you heard, he's a cool guy as well. So he deserves the support of the cannabis community. If you ain't subbed up already, go and check it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So, to the next section. Let's do this. What the fuck was that? KTN, this is all you. What have we got?
All me.
That's it.
Wow.
Carry on, mate.
That's
It's all yours.
it. It's okay. We've got a little sound for you to have a guess at. It's only a 5-second clip. Anybody that knows it will know it straight away. If you don't know it, you'll never get it. Have a listen to this.
There we go. Any idea, anybody?
I have an idea, but I won't say it.
Don't say it. Don't say it. If you know it, leave it for the listeners.
I'll say nothing.
Right. So if you know what that sound is, then head over to Percys Grow Room and check out in the High on Homegrown section and just drop a post and let us know what your guess is. Well, anybody who guesses the right answer, then we'll give you a shout out next week. If we get like 25 guesses, then we'll throw in some actual prizes for the for a little competition there. So, but we have to get the correct answers. We need to know exactly what it is. So have fun. If you need to hear it again, then rewind the podcast. Listen to the podcast again. Yeah, that's what we're saying.
That was Mackie stringing up his scrog in his tent.
That's what I sound like. That's what I sound like when I'm not on the microphone. Just like a robot. You know, there we go, Ali. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? That's the whole idea of it. Good luck in guessing, everybody. Hope you enjoy. And we'll see what got my mind at the moment. No clue. Good.
We have Dave. I was just looking at that, Dave.
Okay,
It's
so-
out of his mind.
Yeah, we're going to move on to the question and answer section. This is where we ask the listeners to drop any questions they have about growing in the YouTube chat, and we can answer some. Or if there's questions in the forum that need to be answered, then we can answer them as well here. So I have to wait a few seconds for the YouTube chat to update if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, we can go to questions from the panel. It's all good. What would you say, Liza? Most common questions asked by growers, new growers. Where to buy
How long
seeds,
does it take?
You know? Yeah, how long does it take?
How much am I gonna get?
That's very common, yes. And there's no answer.
How many grams off a plant are you gonna get?
Yeah, fucking. See, I like to put it on average.
That answer depends. That answer depends an awful lot.
Well, it depends on everything. Depends on everything.
Everything.
I would definitely agree with that. Yeah, my first plant was a lot lower than the plants I grow now, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I've got a lovely plant that's gone there now. And the bud sites that she's producing is just amazing underneath the ish now. compared to what I was growing under, I grew under Philizon. They were nice. They're good blurple lights, and they've got cop crease. I had two of them. but I dropped one when I was literally taking it out of the box, and I dropped it straight down because the box opened wrong. So I went from was meant to have a 2-light setup to having a 1-light setup.
I love the way you put that. The box opened wrong.
Oh, it was so, and it was because of the fucking dogs. You know, the dogs came running in
box
and,
wrong.
And the dog ran off with the Stanley knife.
Spraying shit up the walls.
That's where I had to go earlier.
Spraying ish up the walls.
Yeah, because you're an ish squirrel as well, ain't you, GB? You grow under the ish.
Yeah, I have two setups with the ish now. It's in my propagation and my veg tent is I'm growing under the ish 100, the new light that they have out.
Yeah, I've got.
And then I've got the 265. I think it is the version 2 BL. It's got the blue. It's got all the full spectrum on it straight across. So I think you've the same one, Mac. You're one quite similar, except you've got a much bigger version than me.
I think I've got 4 boards and you've got 1.
Yeah, no, I have 2 boards on mine.
Oh, you got 2 of them?
Yeah. There's 2 on mine. There's 2 on the one in the flower tent, and I've just got 1 in the veg tent.
Cool. Yeah, man, epic lights. I fucking love them. I do. Don't know what. I could never go back to HID lighting after using these fucking lights, man. It just wouldn't be the same. I feel more like an expert. When you're using space age technology. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like come straight.
Mine is about when the Weibo.
It's a lot better than all the gear, no idea.
Indeed.
I have a question. I'm just kind of browsing the forums here and just kind of checking the recent posts.
Yeah, sure. What we got?
New member Jeff27 was asking about those the Hermy seeds, and are they going to be good and better than before? Kind of idea. What are you guys' opinion on bag seed? Or
you see, what he said as well in that post, because I've seen the post. He said that. So
that's right. Yeah.
It's like, did the plant Hermy or did it just produce a couple of seeds naturally? Because apparently every female plant will produce a seed to try and pass on its lineage. I don't know. I don't know whether the plant Hermy, but I don't know whether it'll grow out nicely. I'm not for bag seed. Some people are. They say that you get a decent plant out of some of them, but I just don't think it's worth the risk when seeds are so cheap.
Yeah, I mean, if you have access to seeds, I definitely agree. Go with renowned breeders, but sometimes, like I personally have grown a lot of bag seed. Being Canada, ironically, doesn't have the greatest access to a lot of genetics, like seed banks, like the Vault and Ali Bongo and all these places. So, yeah, but in my opinion, I mean, it depends on how many seeds are in the bud and stuff. Like, you can kind of guesstimate whether or not it was pollinated by a male, depending on if it's just loaded with seeds, because that kind of implies that the pollen was everywhere, versus if just a few seeds are kind of tucked in there, that might imply that it hermied later in life and only kind of pollinated a few flowers, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So, but in that sense, those hermy or intersex characteristics will likely be carried forward to the next generation. So that is something probably that you will have to deal with again. So that's something to consider. But I mean, they'll grow for sure, but yeah, it's kind of a shot in the dark in terms of the genetics, because there's really no way to prove what pollinated what there. So yeah.
I wouldn't grow them, but he's already popped them, so they're there now and they're alive. So you might as well keep them going. Well,
the legend goes OG Kush came from bag seed, I think, right?
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Well, at the end of the day, it's smokable. You just have to pop the seeds out before you crush it.
Well, it's just the risk of it being a Hermy is the most. I think that's the biggest problem. It's the risk of it changing to a fucking Hermy and having it full of seed on this final grow, and then you've wasted like 16 weeks on the whole grow.
Keep your eyes on it though.
What's that squeaky sound?
It's my grinder. It needs oiling.
Oh my gosh! Oh god!
Sound effect stoners.
Yeah, that's not a great sound,
No, it's just the lid was on squeaky.
Did we have a question?
Sorry, YouTube.
But right, Ali's got a question here. Yeah, that's what most say. But it seems to me you are likely to fail if not correct pH, temp, humidity, newts, etc.
Yeah, originally she asked about bare minimum equipment guide, And I answered it with, all you need is a light, a pot, and soil.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
That's
technically,
her
yeah,
response to that.
you could go with the super soil, and it would be basically just tap water in
Yeah.
the super soil.
Nice and easy.
Yeah. May
But-
not be the highest yield, but it would definitely be the bare minimum.
It
Mhm.
would, yeah. Great.
Well, who is it? Red Eye up on the forum. He's gone and he's done a whole grow with soil he got from the woods.
Yeah.
And man, them
Bird
plants
Red
look
Eye.
decent, don't they? Have you seen them?
Yeah.
And the whole grow
7
done with just soil from the
yeah.
woods, with just water for the whole fucking grow, and they look decent, man. So I'm gonna go to the woods and get myself some fucking soil.
Good soil is good soil if it has
Yeah.
proper aeration, and soil from the woods probably is loaded with the microbes.
Yeah, that's it,
you
man.
can
And
keep-
local microbes too.
Yep, keep
I
them
was going
happy.
to say that the forest soil will be full of the best microbes.
Yeah, and didn't he just
the ground, which is
like
very-
split it like a hand, like 1/4 of the soil from the woods into his super soil? So he was basically just bringing the microbes in, huh?
Nice.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to do it, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, basic, yeah, like we mentioned before, you need your tent, your pots, your seeds,
on a chalkboard.
a medium, a light. Yeah. It's not like you can't do it for nothing, right? It's definitely going to cost you something, whether it's some really crazy ingenuity that you build something out of something, or you just, like the most of us do, go on and buy this stuff. But the payoff is such a huge thing that, you pay this thing off, and especially if you're on Percys and taking advice and getting questions answered by us and everybody else there, you're going to pay this thing off pretty much in your first grow, because street value of the weed that you will produce is far more than what you will be paying for your basic grow setup. At least that's how it worked out for me when I first bought my stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's killing me, the price of weed at the minute. This corona has fucked everything up.
Yeah, like everything, it's a little bit of an investment, but it pays off really quickly.
Absolutely.
Look at Dave out there, who's growing auto flowers outdoors. He says he's growing happily at the moment.
Tops felt a little crisp.
We've got
not
Ben
too-
Thompson there. On my first grow, top leaves felt a little crispy. Not too close to the light though. Normal. No, it wouldn't be normal for them to be crispy.
How's your heat?
Yeah. And your fan. Where's your fan blowing? If you've got a fan blowing directly at leaves all the time, then it will make the
make 'em
moisture
crispy.
evaporate quicker. So that'll make them crispy. So make sure your fan's oscillating around the grow room. If you have any more questions there, Ali, then feel free to ask. Just specify what you mean, and we'll be happy to answer. Don't stress. It's all good.
We don't bite.
Yeah, but
we
you don't
definitely
buy.
don't buy.
I have a question. lads.
What's up, GB?
Yeah, and it's something that's it'll be interesting for a lot of people. It's some pest control. What's a good cure, or not cure even, but what's some good home remedies that you can make up at home if you're trying to go organic, or if you're trying to grow on the bare minimum as such, or what's just good ideas
just
that you
a
can
good
do?
fan blowing at like the top of the medium and letting the medium dry out. Just like the top inch or top couple of inches of the medium, letting that dry out. It will kill off most eggs that live in the top of the medium. So a lot of the bugs won't be able to live on the plant. Because a lot of them. Sorry, TJ.
They get pissed off because the fungus they're flying around too, and it makes it really tough for them to land on.
Exactly. Yes.
Make it an uncomfortable
Absolutely.
environment for them to live in.
Yeah. At the very bare minimum, a fan blowing out on your top of your soil is something you want.
Yeah, something down there moves from there for sure.
And if you're growing outdoors, if you're not growing indoors,
Oh man, if you're growing
If
outdoors,
you have a
goddamn,
problem.
just live out there with a sword and a shield, and a
Basically,
flamethrower, and be ready.
My advice would be to plant as many associated plants, I guess, beneficial plants for beneficial insects. Try to attract ladybugs and green lacewings and all the stuff that's going to eat the stuff that eats your plants. That's the best way.
So
to
this
control
is the
stuff outside.
This is the companion planting that I've heard so much about, TJ. Is it?
Yeah, something that smells
Yeah.
nice that the plants will prefer, that the bugs will prefer.
Absolutely.
Dutch Passion do a very good companion planting kit. They
Not
give
cool,
you a
do
couple
they?
of seeds for like sunflowers. Yeah. It's like
They're a great
I was
company, man.
flicking through their website.
Yeah, for sure.
They're an awesome company.
No, you just make your environment inhospitable for the baddies, and like if you have a properly maintained and I guess in sync microbiome and you know like microclimate or micro yeah like all the different bugs and bacteria and stuff in your backyard, you shouldn't really have issues with pests in the first place because it should all kind of take care of itself.
Cool.
But,
We got another question there from Ali. After reading everything on
Yep.
Medium, I still prefer cocoa to soil, but which would you guys say is least maintenance? Thanks, guys.
Soil.
Yeah, soil
How
is
dare
least
you.
maintenance. Yeah.
That's why I use it, because I don't want no maintenance trouble.
That's it. Water it every other day. 2 or 3 times a week is plenty. And if you use the right potting up technique, then there's no reason to add nutrients for like the first 6 weeks or so. When the
Yeah,
plant
that's
starts
right.
looking hungry, stick it in a new pot with some new soil, and that's going to have some extra food in there for a couple of weeks, and then pot it up again. So
the reason that I even used super soil in the first place was like when I first started growing more intensively. My job took me away for like 2 to 3 weeks at a time, right? So
yeah.
I would have to not be here to watch my plants, and my partner isn't like, she's super smart, but she's not super green thumb, so the best she can do is just water them. So I had to figure out a way for her to just be able to water them and not screw anything up, for lack of a better term. And with the super soil, yeah, you it's a little bit more work in the beginning. It's baking a cake or whatever. You have to mix all the ingredients together and let it cook for a little while. But after that, you're basically good to go for the entirety of your grow. My recipe that I developed is good for like 3.5 months of growth in a three-ish gallon pail, depending on the strain. Some are a little bit more hungrier than others, but yeah, I had to develop a very simple system in order for my girlfriend to be able to take care of my plants while I was gone, and that's why I use soil. There's nothing like cocoa is not hard. It's just you have to be there every day to do it, right?
Yeah.
So
And you have to
You gotta have
pH
something
and
set.
and
He's a demanding beast. Cocoa
Yeah.
is.
Takes extra
Yeah.
equipment.
But
Yeah.
you can definitely push the plants harder.
We have another question here, lads.
We do from Dave.
We can see Dave is saying the same. He's having the same issues outdoors. Small flies are eating the shit out of his fan leaves and everything. What would be a good option for that? Would it be neem oil or
I'd say neem
some
oil spray
soapy?
once a week will help keep
as
them
long as
away.
it's not in flour.
As long as it's not in
Neem
flour,
oil
yeah.
or
Yeah.
soap, yes.
yeah, don't spray on flowers. But
Flour? Oh, no.
I like there's a product. It's called Safers here in Canada, but it's basically just a mixture of potassium salts and a little bit of pyrethrum, I think,
Yeah.
natural pesticide or whatever, and you dilute it into water and you spray that. It's what do they call it? It doesn't last on the plant, like it doesn't get absorbed into the tissue.
Non-systemic.
That's right. Yeah, non-systemic, and yeah, it just basically gets washed off by the next time it rains or even sooner. So it's really good stuff, and it kills everything. It's it doesn't really give a shit what bug it hits. It'll kill everything. So you do have to be careful not to spray your ladybugs and things. But that's a pretty good product or something similar.
Soapy water's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah,
for
that's it. But
outside
it's good
plants.
to try and
Yeah.
use something that doesn't have a scent in it. That's why people prefer Castile
Yeah.
soap. But you can use dish
Yeah.
soap like Fairy Liquid and shit. But don't use too much because it can burn the plants.
Well, even fairy liquid at the end of the day, it's not going to get absorbed into the plants. It'll wash off when it rains.
Yeah, but the acidity of it and things
Straight
like that
plants.
can cause the leaves to discolor and become damaged.
Dish soap though is actually really caustic, like specifically like Dawn style dish soap. I mixed some one time to spray my roses because I had aphids all over the place, and I mixed it way too strong, and it just absolutely roasted the leaves. So you gotta be careful with that.
And so use everything lightly, and if you don't do the job,
and the type of
increase the
soap
dosage.
is important. Yeah. But
Yeah. Now, Dave said that his plant's not in flower yet, so he can't spray that.
Yeah, get some neem
No,
oil,
no,
man.
no,
There's
no,
a
good
there's a
sense.
nice recipe up on Percys. To pop over to Percys and I don't know, just search for homemade pesticides, and there's a few ideas in there for you that are nice and easy. And just simple. You can make them at home. You might not have neem oil at home, but you can use like pepper and different kinds of capsaicin, anything spicy with a bit of soap, and the bugs won't like that. So spray some of that on there. That's nice and cheap, easy way to get over it.
Yeah.
And definitely stop your problem now before the flowering starts, because you'll have a much better time later.
Mm-hmm. So with that, I think we'll call an end to the Q&A and we'll move on to truth.
Oh, yes.
We've been listening about this for the last
Are you
2
ready?
weeks.
Are you ready? Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
Whenever
give
you
you
want.
3 statements, and 2 of them are going to be true, and 1 of them is going to be false. I'm going to read them out to you. Okay. Let me just expand my screen so I can see it all and read it to you. Okay. Marijuana may impair female fertility. Female eggs exposed to THC have an impaired ability to produce viable embryos and are less likely to result in a viable pregnancy. Right? That's number 1. Number 2, impaired driving even once the high wears off. Recreational marijuana use affects driving ability even when the users are not intoxicated. Cannabis users have more accidents, drive at higher speeds, and drive through more red lights than non-users. And then number 3, regular users of high potency cannabis are no more likely to report associated problems than I missed out at the end of the answer, excuse me. Regular users of high potency cannabis are no more likely to report associated problems than users who use less often. I don't know. I didn't include the end of the question, so now I don't know how to finish it. Excuse me. All this preparation. I'm about to, likely to associate problems and less likely to report anxiety disorders than users of low potency strains. There we go. I'll read it out for you again. Users of high potency cannabis are no more likely to report associated problems and less likely to report anxiety disorder than users of low potency strains. Did we get that? I need to read
We
all of them
did.
again pretty much because you didn't get that.
So,
Surely you're all geniuses.
What we're saying then?
Go on, zombie.
Two
You have a shot first, man. Which one is the
Who, me?
false one? Which one is true? Go for the first one. Discuss why. Marijuana may impair female fertility. True or false?
Who's first?
You can go first, mate.
Oh, I can go first. Well, that's a load of rubbish.
Okay.
I've got 3 kids. Me and my missus have been smoking for years, and they just popped out one after the other.
Okay, so are you done there? Is that your spoof? Are you just saying number 1's the spoof?
Wow. See, I'd go all 3 of them are total rubbish because I can relate to all 3 of them.
Okay.
So I'm totally confused now.
Yeah, good.
Just
That's why I like it. What are you going to pick, man?
I've got to pick one. Oh no.
Ali
shit.
thinks number 2.
No, well, that don't affect me driving either.
Okay. I'm going to give you another.
What was number 3?
Number 3.
That was a complicated one. I'm going to go with the complicated one.
Users of a high potency cannabis are no more likely to report associated problems and less likely to report
I'm gonna go with that
disorder than users of lower potency strains. You're going to go with
I'm going to go with number 3, I think.
Okay. That's going to be your spoof.
Yeah.
Okay. Zian's going for number 3. GB, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm going to go with number 3 as well because I from experience, I know I function personally so much better when I'm stoned.
I agree.
It also helps me stay. I have arthritis and Sjogren's disease. It's an autoimmune disorder, so it helps me an awful lot in that side. So I don't have to take fucking hardcore chemist medicine. But yeah, I drive perfectly well. And if I don't,
so you go for number 2 then?
Split, no, well, I don't know. I drive perfectly well.
Well, according to this statement, even when you're not high, your abilities to drive are less than what they could be if you don't smoke. 30 seconds, GB.
Yeah,
What's it going to be, 2 or 3?
I drive better stoned. I don't know. Fuck it, we go with number 3.
Okay, number 3. No, we're moving on. TG, what are you saying, mate?
Yeah. Well, my logic is I think they're all bullshit too. Just, but in my mind, the first 2 are probably quote unquote true because they're likely the ones that have been. I don't know. In my mind, it's easy to study and make that correlation between driving and smoking because most of the studies that are actually done right show that there is no correlation, but there are some, and those are still floating around. So, and the same with the pregnancy thing. I don't think there is, in my super non-medical opinion, any correlation between that. But I do think that there's not enough evidence out there to say that there isn't. So those two I think are true. So I'm gonna have to go with number 3, even though I think that it's also false.
Okay,
Or
three all for
does
number
that make
3 so
sense?
far, right? Yeah, man.
I
Monkey,
don't know.
what are you saying? You're gonna
Oh,
go against the
wow. Okay,
wave.
so the first one, let's take a look. I think I'm with Zombie on that one. I've got 2 kids, and it never seemed to be a problem. So let's just go ahead and if anything.
So is that the spoof?
Actually, I think I remember. I think I remember something about it was the sperm that was affected and not the egg. So maybe that's it.
Yeah.
The second one was. No, you know what? If it's going to happen, Mackie, it's going to happen. I'm going to have to go with the third one as well. I don't really believe it, like Temple said, but I do remember something in the news a while back when they were having a lot of problems with people right after legalization, and they were pointing to the extreme high potencies in THCs.
Skunk weed, man. Skunk weed.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of those
Super skunk, mind bending.
Yeah,
Okay,
they were
then. So
talking
you're all
about
going to go
strains
for number
started going
3.
over
Number
20.
3.
Yeah, no for
Bastards.
3.
Yeah, you all caught me out in the first week. I think I clean slated me. You all got it correct.
Yeah, well,
Well done, everybody. Well done.
Everybody
it's
pulls
not
a
like
point.
we're all idiots, you know.
I'm just testing the water, man. I'm going to see how far I can go with this. Right, so
Sorry, Ali.
user,
Ali,
where
please
are we?
pick number 2.
Right,
Yeah,
so
they're all false.
these are
They're
all from
false.
Science Daily. Right, a new study. First of all, go for the real risk associated with cannabis exposure during pregnancy. A new study from research at Western University, at Queen's University, and Queen's University. I'm so high. Sorry about my reading ability. Definitively shows that regular exposure to THC, the main psychoactive ingredient in cannabis, during pregnancy has significant impact on the placental and fetal development. So, it looks like smoking weed is bad during pregnancy, or even having any exposure during pregnancy.
How did they say how or what happens?
They go into a lot of detail, and you can find it on sciencedaily.com, but I don't want to read it all out.
Yeah,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
some good studies though.
God for that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. No, I'll have a read.
It's a long
That's
one,
good.
but it's a good study, and they've got some good references in there too. So it's not
I'm
just.
sure.
What's the talk about the driving one there, Mackie?
Yeah, so the driving one. Apparently, you are a worse off driver when you're intoxicated by weed.
Oh,
I mean, it's obviously
Rubbish.
I mean, I feel that it's like when you're an everyday smoker, it's not really a major thing. You know, you don't really get hit by it. You don't get too stoned by it. It's just, it's like drinking a cup of coffee. But if you're a non-smoker and you hit a spliff and then get behind the wheel of a car, you're going to fucking crash it, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah. That
Yeah.
That's
I'd
different.
argue too, though, that like someone, like myself and other medical patients, it's in our best interest to be medicated so that we feel back to quote unquote, normal.
Normal.
That's how it goes for me. So while I'm driving, I'm not going to have this, stupid stomach spasm right in the middle of traffic or something, and then have to pull over because because that's what cannabis does. It helps me avoid those types of things. And you could definitely say the same for a lot of other conditions too, even more so. So in that sense, I think that I don't know. It depends on the situation, but yeah,
Right,
there's a lot more.
And number
studies
3
to be
being
done.
the spoof. Users of high potency cannabis are no more likely to report associated problems than less likely to report anxiety disorders. I just can't get that sentence right, can I? Then users of low potency strains. Right, that one is the spoof, because apparently users of high potency cannabis are 4 more times more likely to report associated problems. That's crazy, right?
Well, there's a bit of a thing on this, because I reckon that the 4 times more likely, I reckon these people have got mental issues already.
Mm-hmm.
So the cannabis is affecting their mental issue and not them as a person. So the symptoms are coming from that side of it. But up until this point where they'd smoked this high potency cannabis, they're only smoking the low grade shit from their local dealer. So it wasn't really having that much of an effect.
This is done by Science Daily again. This is on Science Daily. The research is done by the University of Bristol. Published today, the research uses data from children of the 90s and a long-term health study that recruited more than 14,000 pregnant women and their babies born in and around Bristol in the early 1990s. That's crazy, man. That's a lot of fucking pregnant women. and has been following their health and development ever since. So it's going to be a good study.
See,
The
but
amount of research put in there, that's pretty cool, man. What are you saying, GB?
they need to research. They need to research somebody like us that can actually and put the comparison. No, I'm serious. And you put like a comparison, like we all have. Like I have a really good job in the real world. I smoke weed all day long. You don't have to like try to and show people that like the stereotype. Obviously, we can't do it in our countries because it's illegal. But in other countries, that's what they need. They need to show people that are in the professional world that it's not, that it's all good. It's that it can be done as normal once it's done in moderation. And once you're not like, it's common sense, guys. You don't get behind the wheel of the car if you're fucking monged out or after like eating a shitload of edibles. That's just stupidity. It's like getting behind the wheel of a car fucking drunk. You should go to prison for some shit like that. But if you have one spliff and drive down the road, you're not impaired. It's like having one drink. That's a different actually conversation altogether, because drink driving, I'm so against it myself.
It's totally different though to smoking, because your whole perception of everything, your depth perception, your field of view, everything is totally changed. Whereas when you weed, it's totally not.
You need to know what you're doing too. It's like riding a bike. The first time somebody rides a bike, I wouldn't recommend that they go on the hardest, downhill mountain bike course ever.
I would, and then get your friend to film it on YouTube and upload it so I can see that shit.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, though. You're gonna have a bad time, just like weed. You shouldn't like do something that may, like, driving is inherently dangerous by itself. And if you've not experienced with cannabis and you don't really know how it's going to affect you, or it does affect you in kind of a negative way, because that's just some people. So everybody is different, right? Then you need to have the sense not to drive, and that's where the issue is, because I don't think you can, put it up to individual people to make that ethical decision, because
people can't make that decision when they're drunk.
All you bastards,
exactly right.
You clean slated me, picked out the spoof straight away. So next week it's going to be a lot more difficult. Prepare yourselves. Stay up to date on the news. And if you want to know more about them articles, then just go to Science Daily and search for cannabis. You'll find them.
Happy days.
Okay.
Right, so now we're going to move on to the Stoner Quote of the Week. Look at this, got a little Shakespeare face going on right there. There's that. Shakespeare. Apparently Shakespeare was a stoner. It's TG. This is yours, mate. What's the Stoner Quote of the week?
Well, I thought I'd take one from the legendary Dr. Lester Grinspoon. May he rest in peace. Yeah, so he said, it's a pretty famous quote. I'm sure lots of people have heard it, but I began to study marijuana in 1967. I had not yet learned that there is something very special about illicit drugs. If they don't always make the user behave irrationally, they certainly cause many non-users to behave that way. So, I don't know. Nice. I like that. It is very true. People that just they refuse to try the thing, whether it's drugs, whether it's anything that they hate so much, and they have no experience in actually talking about what they're talking about, and then we have the situation that we have. So there needs to be a little more clear-headedness.
When did he say that? Did he say when the quote was?
What year? It doesn't list.
I bet that was way back in the 70s as well.
I'm sure.
Him and Cole Sagan were friends.
Yeah,
they used to talk about weed a lot. They were. I remember reading somewhere that way back in the 70s, there was like, surely in 5 years, cannabis will be legalized, and obviously still hadn't for another 30 years after that, at least.
Yeah,
crazy shit, man. As if we're still fighting this fight, eh?
Yeah, well, it's slowly but surely, and
like
we were talking about earlier. I think when the United States really kind of gets on board with full legalization, then the rest of the world will be much more inclined to follow along.
Sure.
So, fingers crossed.
Right. Yeah, so the outro, everybody. It's been a good pilot, right? We've done pretty well.
Yeah, I thought it's been pretty good.
Very well.
We can pat ourselves on the back. I don't know if it's worth it, but yeah.
Yeah, man. We flowed through that live and everything. Everybody, thank you very much for joining us and being involved in the chat. You know, we've just been over 2 hours now on the stream. We don't want to keep you much longer than that. We know everybody's got things to do. We appreciate everybody signing up. If you go over to Percys and you're not a member already. If not, we'll see you next week, same time, 10 o'clock for us UK viewers. What time are you on, TG? What time do you start in Canada?
3 o'clock
3 o'clock.
Central Time.
What about you,
That's for me.
Monkey?
It'd be 3 o'clock Eastern, 4, what is that? No, I got it backwards. 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern.
Sweet.
In US.
That's it, man. Just give a
And
shout
before
out to
everybody
Jordan
goes,
as well.
Remember to hit that like button.
Oh,
Hit that
yeah.
like button.
Hit that like button. Like, subscribe. Make sure you share with your friends as well. We need the community to help us with the podcast to grow. So I have this up
Drop
on
by the
iTunes in the
Percys.
next few days as well. So
Drop by the Percys, introduce yourself. If
yes.
you're not a member, sign up.
Yeah, and come and let us know what you
Yeah,
think, what the
come on
fuck
board.
that noise was. Don't forget about that. Get over to Percys, let us know what the fuck that was. Yeah,
And more questions. I like questions.
yeah, man.
Fun.
Also, questions for next week. If you want to ask them,
Yeah.
then let us
Yeah.
know also in the podcast section. Can't wait to see you next week, my dudes. Grow a love. Thanks,
Yeah.
Cade.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Have a good
And
night.
Of course, to the panel, Monkey, TG, CN,
Everybody,
GB.
Mikey,
I've got
thanks a lot.
everybody.
You know you put a lot into it, mate.
Yeah, man. Thanks for
Thanks
joining us,
for
Thanks,
watching,
everybody.
guys.
Yeah, man. Been a
We'll be
pleasure.
around.
I'll flick this up. You can sign up to Percys. You can just follow the link in the description. Nice and easy. Yeah, you see that? Our members see an increased yield and quality of their cannabis. See that? Sign up, learn more. You know what I'm saying? Thanks again, everybody. Been awesome. PercysGrowroom.com. Nice one, lads.
Time and channel.
Still didn't stop streaming. I'm going to do it now.